To you, I'm an atheist. To God, I'm his loyal opposition. Woody Allen. And this is the Godless Rebelution. I'm back.
Hello, everybody. That was Ryan.
Yay, we missed you so much, Ryan.
That's what I hear. I hear I'm pretty damn sexy and got some nice-ass tattoos going on.
Yeah, Ryan does have some nice tats.
Oh, you listen to us even when you're gone.
His hair's grown out a little, too.
I was actually coming back from camping that Friday afternoon. Once I got back into cell service, like closer to Salt Lake, I'm like, let's go to iTunes and see what the Godless Rebelution podcast is this week. I'm like, it's not there.
Oh, and that's when you...
That's when I texted Matt. I'm like, hey, dude, did you guys do a show this week?
What's going on?
Yeah, it just didn't work. I'm like, did you click the right button?
I forgot to ask you what the...
I had not.
I forgot to ask you what the
That's all
technical
right.
problems were. You probably tell me later.
Oh, yeah. No, I took the recorder home and then plugged it in, and my computer wouldn't read it. And, of course, we've done that here multiple times on the laptop.
Wouldn't recognize it as an external storage or whatever?
Right,
or...
and so I was just thinking, okay, well, I don't have the software or whatever, but I know we've burned CDs here a bunch of times from it. And so I was like, I don't know if... I've never watched you do it, so I didn't know if... I was like, I don't know if Dan has that stuff or what's the deal. So anyway, Ryan texted me, and I'm like, yeah, I couldn't get my computer to recognize it. He's like, oh, well, that's because when you plug it in, you got to select storage on the device.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I did that, and it was like, bam,
Ba-dong.
pulled right up. So I'm like,
Yep.
oh, okay.
Because this fancy little recorder dealio lets you plug it into the USB and either charge it through USB or download through USB. So you got to tell it what to do.
Yeah.
But now you're in the know.
Yeah. And I mentioned that. I mean, I wasn't shy about my ignorance on Facebook.
And knowing is half the battle.
See, every week,
Yo, Joe.
every time I go camping, you learn new stuff.
The more you know.
Oh yeah,
The little rainbows.
yeah. I was doing the GI Joe. That was a little cross in the wires.
Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was saying that's it's good for you
Yeah.
to learn stuff because I mean learning's an important thing.
Nice.
It's good for you to learn stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, man, I missed being the mook of this show. I'm glad you're back.
you're welcome.
Grant tried at the beginning. You two tried to do, and I think it was the energy from the usual podcast thing, and Dan was kind of doing, and I just wasn't letting Grant have that angle. But,
The purple dragon.
yeah.
But at least it sounded like you guys had a fun show last week. Still,
yeah, it was a
and
lot of fun.
Had a good time.
Yeah.
It was super ranty, really tangential, but yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun.
I went on a
It was
couple
long.
tears.
I think we all did. It was long. It
Yeah.
was a long show.
Yeah, so I found out my mom listens to this podcast. I told these guys earlier.
Yeah.
Apparently, my mom thinks we cuss too much. But I learned to cuss from her.
What did you say? Holy corn!
For corn's sakes,
Oh,
Ryan.
for corn's sakes, Ryan!
The Wisconsin thing.
Oh, you guys are just talking a lot of smack on that show.
That was actually Bobby's mom on Bobby's World. You remember when Howie Mandel
Oh,
had
yeah,
that
I
little
remember that
cartoon,
show.
Bobby's World?
No, that was like, no, I used to be able to do the voice.
Bobby's World.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we all sound like morons.
That's because you're not used to doing voices
I
on this
forgot
show.
about
Yeah.
that show like that.
Yeah, but that's what his mom would always say. For corn's sakes, Bobby. She'd always. That's where I got that. It's kind of that Midwest, like weird sort of. Yeah.
People
They
usually
probably don't really say that there, but I don't know.
No.
I never heard it in Minnesota.
No, but usually people more attribute us to Fargo,
Right.
which is not
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
No.
Well,
Or the part of Wisconsin I'm from.
I know, but it's similar enough to the rest of the country. I mean, it's just like if someone's from Atlanta or they're from New Orleans, if you're from the Midwest, it's like basically the same.
well, and I was just thinking,
But it's not.
You
No.
said for corn's sakes, and I was thinking of all the different, all the different little, Utah local euphemistic phrases that people
Right.
use instead of "oh my god." You know,
Right.
Gosh,
I think-
golly.
I think
Heck.
the
Oh my
Yeah,
heck.
oh, yeah. That's
I think the best one I ever heard was at a family reunion, and one of my very, very, very LDS family members got upset about something, and they said, "Oh my wagon!"
What?
Really?
Yeah,
That's got to be an old one.
this was probably
No, I mean like
7 years ago, but
no,
I mean,
but I'm just saying that statement probably goes back generations
yeah.
to the pioneers.
Oh man, that's good Oh, my handcart.
Oh, my frozen river.
Yeah, they couldn't afford wagons.
No, they were plenty of
They were
covered
too
wagons.
pious for wagons. They had a.
Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah,
Why-
exactly.
Wagons.
Wagons. Why?
Yeah.
And, well, and why?
W-A-Y-G-O-N, wagons.
And why put good
Thanks,
horses through the task when you can have these healthy women pulling the hand carts?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to make sure Dan gets credit for a really brilliant joke that I didn't laugh at because it was so horrible. But it's true, and it actually is pretty clever.
Which one?
About why have horses?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you looked right at me, and I was like,
That's just it's just an extra expense.
I know, but it's so sad.
They're broodmares either way.
Again, very clever. Have you ever thought about? Have you ever thought about?
That's really funny stuff that I'm not going to laugh at because it's really uncomfortable.
Well,
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
talking about
I mean-
hand carts.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the. Was it Pie
Beer
Day?
Day?
Pie and Beer Day. Yeah.
Pie and Beer Day.
Pie and Beer Day.
Yep.
That's clever.
Them Utahns or those missionaries that came here and discovered this wonderful land of Utah.
Well, it was the pioneers.
Pioneers,
Yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow is Utah's biggest holiday. 24th of July is much bigger than the 4th of July
Which
here in
pisses
Utah.
me off
Right.
all. When I first got here, and I was like, "Why do you guys celebrate this more than the 4th of July?"
Yeah.
Well, and like the big. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say they'll cancel 4th of July fireworks shows to have a 24th of July fireworks show.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
when
don't
budgets
agree
are
with it.
tight,
Yeah.
it's which one are we going to do? Well, obviously the 24th.
Fourth, fuck the 4th.
Right. I know, like when we were talking about the pioneers discovering that, and
Yeah.
it actually wasn't missionaries because Brigham Young led them, but
Well, not
he was
missionaries.
the quote prophet of the church at that time, the president. But his famous quote is, "This is the place," referring to what he saw in the vision for where to set up the new church.
Yeah.
Right? And so
The land of Zion.
right. And so when we moved here from Massachusetts, which, was always, maple trees everywhere and ferns and moss and running streams and stone walls and all this kind of stuff, tons of history. And we moved out here and it was just sand and sagebrush and,
Yeah.
Salt,
deer
barren wasteland.
Yeah. And so between me and my sisters, the joke was always, this is the place?
yeah.
But,
Well, I was going to say, I think I've heard somewhere, or a couple somewheres, that he never actually even said that. That's just kind of
yeah, probably not.
that's kind of Mormon lore.
Yeah, probably.
Like the George Washington painting of him praying in front of that
Right.
tree with his horse sitting
Oh
there,
my
which
God.
is a total
Yeah.
fake painting.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're
And
looking,
everybody attributes that to be a real event.
So Tracy
Right.
and I are looking to buy a house, and we've gone and looked at a few homes. And I think of the 6 we went and saw, 3 of them had that awful fucking painting in them, along with a proclamation to the world
Yep.
and, white Jesus all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, white Jesus.
It's very disconcerting. I get really mad whenever I see a proclamation to the world like, that is some hateful shit. And people post it like, oh, this is so inspired and so wonderful. Have you read it? Have you fucking read the thing? Like,
Yeah, but these are Tea Partiers that are putting this up. Well, the thing is, when you look at that, what they're actually suggested to do is put it by their front door, by the exit, in the exit hallway of their home, not just anywhere in the house, but somewhere everybody's going to see it.
Walking past it.
Yep. Or if you have guests you don't know well that just kind of come in and stand by the door and you chat for a minute, so that's where it's supposed to be.
we were walking through Costco one day and they had a display of these really nice frames and, other artwork and shit that they were selling. It was one of those kind of traveling roadshow things that they do at Costco every now and then. They'll do the fucking blenders or sleeping bags or whatever. And they had these really nice frames and, some of them you could buy just the frame. Some of them came with, art, quote unquote, in the thing. And on the display, like front and center, in the middle of the display was a proclamation to the world. And Tracy's looking at the frames and she's like, oh, these are really nice. We should maybe get one of these. And I looked up and saw that, and the guy's standing there and he's smiling at her. And I looked up and saw that, and I'm like, I'm not buying that shit. Have you seen what they've got fucking right there in the middle of
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah.
Nope. And I just walked away, and he looked all
Oh yeah.
a little huffy, and I was like,
Yeah.
fuck you, buddy.
Don't support it.
Don't bring your hate speech out in public and expect me not to call it fucking hate speech and say that I don't want any part of it.
Yeah. I would actually prefer to replace Huffy with Prissy. Because I think that's how Mormons in Utah act.
Well, it was just, he was
No, I know what you mean. I know the look.
oh,
Yeah. Dude, I live in the shadow of BYU, man.
that's right.
Yeah.
They talking about like the hate speech thing. I'd read an article today where it was a guy that had been fired from a newspaper for his blog, and where he was going on an anti-LGBT rant about the gay Stapo and how they're trying to do all
Jesus.
this.
Is that
and the one thing we got to do.
Oh my God.
But now he's suing the newspaper, saying that they infringed upon his religious freedom.
Of course, because of fucking SCOTUS.
Arg.
Of course he used that.
Arg.
And,
I've never heard gay Stapo. Is that a new thing?
that's what he
coming
was
out?
calling. He was saying that it's the,
I
they're the
think I've
gay
heard-
Stapo.
I think I've heard
it
that
before.
before.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's been a little
That's
while.
fucking ridiculous.
I-
But that just takes the whole quote gay agenda thing to a whole new
Oh, yeah.
level.
I mean, and the religious freedom
What is
thing.
the
Like, your
gay
religious
agenda?
No,
There
it's
isn't.
equality. How about that? How about just be treated like
Making
a
things fabulous?
Yeah.
bedazzling?
Damn
That's the gay
it.
agenda.
I hate fabulous things.
I hate happy people.
All
Families.
the colors and neatly arranged items.
glitter.
Jesus. Save me.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that just because of that whole Hobby Lobby thing, it's going to be seeing a lot more
Nah.
people using that
Yeah.
as their excuse, saying, well, in the workplace, my religious freedom says to bash homosexuals.
Yeah.
I can kind of see his argument that maybe, this was done, outside of work, in his own private life, whatever. But it's not really private if you post this on your blog.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Well, yeah,
haven't we
open
had this
to the
happen
rest of the
before?
world.
We've had this happen before
With that
on the
basketball
on
guy
the
that owns the
podcast
team.
at least twice.
Oh, yeah.
That's Fred's
Donald
name. He's-
Sterling.
Donald
Yes.
Sterling, who's now suing like the NBA and his wife.
Now he is, yeah, and
Yeah.
his wife, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, that was his public life, and he got fired from his job
Yeah.
for making
Private
racist
life, yeah.
remarks.
Private life,
Yeah,
yeah.
private life. And everybody was up in arms, like, oh, how dare he say that? How dare he say that? But saying stuff about a group of people that have no control over being gay. It's their life, and they just want to live their life and be happy and be left alone.
If you don't want to be called a bigot, don't fucking be a bigot.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and here's the thing: even if they're not doing that in their private life, and they are doing that in public, and they still want to have a relationship that is not socially acceptable, quote, who fucking cares? I don't care if it's private or public. They still should get equal rights.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
bottom line. So I don't give a shit if you do it in your house or if you don't. You don't have the right to be like that.
I wonder if Donald Sterling will use the religious argument now, too.
Well, and I would say the guy has the right to be like that, but he doesn't have the right to not suffer the ramifications and
you have the
consequences of being a dick.
Okay,
you know?
fair correction.
Well, in some
Yeah.
careers, once you're a public figure, and this guy was a head editor for this newspaper, wrote columns, and he was a public figure for that newspaper, you gotta
You
kind of
can't be- yeah.
kind of follow the newspaper's rules, and the newspaper probably had things saying, well, that's slander and that's bigotry. And
Well,
we
and a
don't-
lot of
we don't
companies
allow
these
that.
days for positions like that have like a
Oh,
code of conduct,
yeah.
social contract kind of thing written into the employee contract
Yeah.
and hiring guidelines.
a way to act.
That you can't act even in your private life. You can't do things that would harm our
Yeah, 'cause
our
you're a
company through an
representation of that
association with
company.
you, right?
I think the thing that's lost here a lot of times is that the LGBT community, as well as the African American community, are still fighting for equal rights. They're not looking for privilege like you fucking white religious
Right.
men,
Yeah.
rich men bastards. Have
I was
had
going to say,
for
you could probably add
centuries.
women into that group,
and
too.
women,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they're not seeking
rich.
special privilege.
No, they just want to be considered
They're
people.
equal.
Yeah.
So fuck all you guys.
I actually had an argument with a guy at work about when the bill came up for women to have equal pay in the workplace, and the guy's like, well, why should they get paid the same? They don't do the same job. I'm like, no, fucker. That's what it's all about. Women doing the same exact fucking job as a guy and getting paid a completely fucking different wage.
Yeah.
Not being
That's what it's
promoted as
about.
often.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, in the office I'm in, women are way better at that job than men are.
And there's plenty of positions where women, women
just
I
saying,
think
like,
are naturally more empathetic and
Yeah.
better at dealing with things than men are, and men are better at dealing with some things more than women are. We do have biological differences in us, and where our brain reacts to things.
Sure. But the thing is, I mean, you're going to go through and measure all that for every individual and say, well, this is what you know. No, I mean, you're just like, I mean,
People are people, and if you can do the job, you can do the job, and if you can't, then sorry.
yes.
Yeah, there was I want to say it was two or three women that tried out for the special forces through I think it was Army Ranger School they went through. Mm-hmm. Military does not allow women in special forces programs.
Right.
So they said, we can do this, and we can prove to you that we can do this. Give us the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And they did it. They finished, but they will not let these women operate in the field with men.
G.I. Jane.
Yeah, it was basically the same thing. These women went through, completed all the tasks like the men did and everything.
So they passed special operator.
It was a part of Ranger, because in reality, for like a Ranger school, you're talking 3 years of different schoolings. They finished one of the programs, like
Okay.
Because there's always an entry program where they're going to beat your ass down.
Oh yeah.
Before you get into all the other specialty schools.
Where they train you, yeah.
Yeah, like the BUDS school for Navy SEALs. Once they pass that, they're not a Navy SEAL. They still got a lot of training, a lot of schools to go through.
They're
before
basically
they
just
get to
weeding out the
field.
deadwood and
Yeah. They went through the initial school.
But that's okay.
For the Ranger school.
And then they wouldn't let them go on to other...
No, well, that was the thing. It was kind of like the G.I. Jane type movie where it was like, this is a test. We're going to put you through it, and that's it. When you're done, you're done. You go back to your other job. But I thought it was cool. These women showed up and said, we can do this. And
so was it,
did it.
So was it like a pilot program where they're figuring one day maybe we'll do this? We just want to see if
well, because the military did change the rule on women serving in combat roles.
Yeah.
Because there used to be women weren't allowed to serve in a combat role, period. And then they allowed them, like, women to join the Marines and serve in an infantry unit or be a machine gunner and actually serve in combat-related units, frontline units. So they were kind of like, well, if women can be in frontline units, why can't we join special forces? Mm-hmm. So they let them go through the school, and that was the end of it. I haven't heard of any other women challenging it or trying to go back to those schools, but I think if you give them the same exact criteria to do everything the same exact way, and they can do it and they can handle it, yeah,
let them
go for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And get equal pay.
It's not my cup of tea.
Of course. You'd be stupid not to. Mm-hmm. Really,
The only psychological thing that I've heard that they worry about is that a man would worry more about the woman in combat, saying he'd be more protective of her than of the guy next to him. Like, he's like, I know the guy next to me can handle him. I don't know about her.
Well, and I get
trying to protect her
I get
more.
that, but at the same time, by not allowing them, that's kind of perpetuating
you
that
don't give them the
stereotype.
chance.
I still feel a twinge of sexism in that.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, it's perpetuating a stereotype of, all men are like this or all women should be protected.
Yeah.
And why not let them get into that role and then find out?
The thing that stood out to me was, that guy's fine. He can handle himself. I don't know about her, though.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll keep my arm around her.
Right.
I mean, I know in my career field, going through some schools, I've seen some women and some of them where it's like, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, this is your third time going through this and you're still struggling. We're all waiting on you right now. If there's a real fire or something, you don't get 3 chances at it. You got one.
Sure. Same with men.
Yeah. And I've seen men go through the same thing.
Of course.
But I've seen men wash out of schools way quicker than women sometimes. Sometimes they would get a pass like, well, we'll give you an extra shot. You're a woman. Where it's a dude, it's like, no, you got your second chance. You're done.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like sometimes. Where it's like, no, you got to.
I don't have an opinion on that because I don't know. I don't know. I'm in a field, I guess, where women just really excel, and I'm in a rare position to be a team leader as a male.
And I've been to a rescue school where you have this big ass Marine dude in there, and you're sending in a 10-story tower getting ready to rappel off, and the guy's like, his knees are quivering, he's shaking.
Dude,
and I'm like,
that would be
dude,
me
you're the
for
big bad Marine. You're afraid of heights.
Sure. That'd be me for sure. Anything above 12 feet, and I'm just like, fuck you.
And then
I have no problem with heights.
No, fuck that shit.
No, but I was going to say that I know women that would just grab that rope and just go and be like having a blast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
I kind of like heights.
I had a friend a few years ago that would, we'd go to Flaming Gorge and he'd jump off the 65-foot cliff, no problem, and give me a bunch of shit about it. And then we'd go down to the UVU wrestling mats, and I'd choke him out in 35 seconds. And he'd be sleeping in my hands.
Well, it's kind of
so it's a whole different. I mean, just depends, but fuck heights.
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit too comfortable with heights. Like I've
Yeah,
I've
that
almost
shit scares
fallen
me,
off
man.
the roof a couple times because it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
See, I do the rappelling and all that kind of stuff and just hanging off the sides of cliffs, and I enjoy it. For
Yeah.
me, sometimes it's the view.
Oh, yeah.
The view.
Well,
Yeah.
no, well, I got me and
Yeah.
another buddy that will do it.
Give me a fucking window.
We'll rappel off the sides of waterfalls. So you're going down next to a waterfall, and you got all the cool, where it's all carved out on the inside, where if you're on the ground, you can't see it. All you see is water falling down. But you're coming down next to that
Yeah.
thing, it's kind of like, this is kind of neat. This is really cool. Just, hanging by a rope 300 feet off the ground, not even touching the wall. I mean, that's,
Perfect, yeah.
to me, it's an experience. But,
And I'll buy your GoPro video of that.
oh, I got plenty of it. I got one GoPro video of me making an accident and falling.
Making an accident? That sounds like you pooped your pants.
Does.
No,
It totally does. I was just like, that's what I do with heights.
What did you do over there? I made an
I
accident.
made an accident. Well, I fell about 20 feet and stopped about a foot before the ground. Ripped my shoes off my feet, ripped my heels open, bashed my head on a rock, but I was wearing a helmet, luckily. And
Yeah, see how lovely that sounds?
Yeah.
but see,
You're
though,
selling me.
they make two kinds of rope. You got dynamic rope and you got
Uh-huh.
static rope.
Yep.
Static rope has no stretch.
Okay.
Dynamic rope stretches.
Yep.
Right.
For every 10 feet, it stretches 1 inch.
Yep.
So running into a 200-foot line, so I think it had 20 feet of stretch in it.
Yeah.
I get to a knot at the end of it, and my
Oh.
feet were touching the ground.
All of a sudden it becomes static.
Well, no, I had to pass the knot.
You hit the...
My
hit
feet
it.
were on a ledge,
Okay.
and I had to pass the knot. I had to go the other side of it. Usually, you'll tie yourself off the line, do a bunch of knots, and maneuver all your stuff around while tied off to it, because you're usually hanging in the air. Well, since my feet were on the ground, I didn't go through the normal procedure of passing the knot. I just undid all my equipment,
and not counting
then
the 20
re-roped
feet of stretch.
then re-put the rope back in my line, and I tried to pull as
The
hard
rope
as I
goes
could.
boing.
Well, no, I went off the edge with the tension let off the rope.
Oh.
And I put my weight back on it, and I had a 20-foot free fall down the side of it. I tried to go backwards, and my feet were above my head. My feet are bashing off the rocks, and finally the rope caught about a foot before the ground. So my head swung down, hit a rock with my helmet on, and I was sitting there. Basically, I just let go of the rope, and my ass was sitting on a rock.
Oh, damn.
If there would have been any more stretch, that would have been my
Your
back of my
demise.
neck on that rock.
Damn.
So I got lucky on that one.
Totally worth it.
I got it all on video.
Yeah.
It's on the YouTubes. I'll show you later.
I would love to see that.
Has your
on
mom
YouTube.
heard this story?
Oh, yeah,
before?
she's seen it. She saw the video. That's when I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, whenever I put a video on Facebook, ask me permission to watch it. Some of them you don't want to see.
You may not want to watch this one,
There's
Mom.
there's a YouTube video. My son has an issue with heights too. I don't know if it's genetic or if it's
Or if it's learned.
But I think I'd be hesitant to say it's 100% of either one.
My
I mean, I
daughter is
think
afraid of water, and I know for a fact she's afraid of water and the dark, and both of those she got from her mother.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sure there's a genetic component because for a lot of his growing up, I tried to leave him, like when we'd go to Flaming Gorge with my friends or whatever, I would just try to not instill a fear in him and let him kind of go do his thing and see what happens and stuff. And he still developed. But anyway, we YouTubed this video, and it's just fear of heights. Type it in. And it's this guy that goes up on these towers or whatever. I mean, hundreds of feet up. And he's just walking on these little towers. There's like a tiny steel bar that spans the two. And he'll just drop down and then grab the bar. And he'll just do like a one-handed pull.
Those guys are
You know?
over in Russia. Those crazy
Yes. Russians.
fucks. They are insane. No parachutes, no ropes, no
Nothing. Nothing.
I've seen guys do it with parachutes, where they'll do it, then let go and parachute. Those are the guys in the U.S. that have some brains at least to
Yeah.
put a parachute on. These guys in Russia are
Yeah, no. This
insane.
guy's. I think this guy's channel is "Don't Be Pussy."
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
But
Don't be
I'm just-
pussy. Hang from tower.
I know. I'm just saying. I can't even watch that guy's
Without-
full video
Without
I
getting
have
like
to turn it
nauseous.
Wow.
because I'm just like, holy shit. I can't. I
I have a
handle
buddy
that
who's
much.
a crane operator in Seattle.
Nope.
And
Nope.
some of the pictures and video
Nope.
that he posts from being in his crane and
Nope.
like doing maintenance out on the crane,
Yeah.
like crawling outside the crane and
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
just
yeah,
a little
and there's
harness on and greasing up different parts and shit.
There's another video of a guy he fixes the electrical boxes on those towers that are like 1,700 feet up.
Yeah.
And he's just climbing up there, you know, it's like higher than the Empire State Building. And I'm just like, fuck that. That guy better be making $2,000 an hour.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could do it for maybe I could. But
I could do it.
Of course, yeah, of course you guys could.
I think it'd be
irrational
that'd be
fear.
fun.
I'm not saying it makes sense.
I couldn't do it without having a camera hanging off my back.
And I'm
so
not
those pictures would
saying,
be awesome.
and I'm not saying that I have no fear of it at all. Like, my palms get sweaty and my feet get sweaty. It's that it's that reaction of, I got to grip something, you know?
That's evolutionary.
Yeah.
That's different than an irrational fear of it.
But I think it's sometimes that when you have that fear of something,
Like you have
and then you
vertigo?
go to do it, then you get that rush going through your body. That's, I guess, why that's the
A little bit of
adrenaline
adrenaline
that
rush?
kind of kicks
Yeah.
in. You're kind of like that euphoria of that. It's kind of...
Do you get vertigo?
No,
Like,
not really. But but it's easy for me to see that it's irrational. Like, I love the prank videos where they have like guys
With
dress
no
up.
head?
No, they dress up like a clown with a sledgehammer.
Oh,
and
I've seen
dark
those.
cloth.
Yeah, those Australian
I saw
dudes.
that one
That's
recently,
fucking
yeah.
hilarious. Because I don't have a fear of clowns, but I know people who do, and it seems stupid to me. And you can try to make all a lot. You can say this and this. And it doesn't matter.
Well,
Right?
if
And that's
I
the same
saw a
thing,
guy
so I realize that's how my fear
in a
is.
dark
It
corner-
doesn't make sense.
dressed up as a clown with a giant mallet, I'd be scared as shit of that guy.
bashing in the head of
something,
of
yeah.
someone. Like you
I'd be
walk
like,
around the corner and
that guy
you must have
wants
seen
to
the
kill.
video recently.
That would scare me so much less than going 20 feet up a cliff or 30 feet up a cliff.
We'll take it sometime. We do some rappelling down in the Provo area.
No.
Well, and I
You
would
won't.
be like, dude,
I'll, I'll dress up like a clown and chase you with a mallet sometime. No, but I'm just saying, you see how it's like, I don't know. Anyway, who cares?
I do carry a gun on me sometimes, so be careful when you chase me with a mallet. Just as a
Yeah.
That's fine. That's over quick. I won't even know. But this was, we were planning on doing a getting to know you segment today.
yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna do because the truth is we're probably gonna do a total overhaul of the podcast.
Not overall, just adding more elements to it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little more
Structure, maybe.
Switching
lot more
things up.
structure and
Yeah.
a little more time restraint.
I didn't. That was Matt suggested the time restraint.
Right? No. Yeah. No. Well, I think if we keep it to a consistent time, and then we're gonna add a few elements that are a little more entertaining, a little more fun, lighten the mood a little bit. We can be a little ranty, a little heavy, but that's because we always bring heavy topics because
Shit's heavy.
It is heavy, and it's important stuff. But we'll try to mix that up a little bit with fun and games, and then every month we'll have our.
That was weird, right?
Yeah. Did you, I was
That
knowing
was the
saw
dog.
That.
That was
Okay.
that was the dog running around in the
seriously,
backyard, going past the window.
Yeah.
Caught all three of our attentions.
It was
Anyway.
God.
Something shiny. What was that? Squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah, it was God, and then you become a Baptist, I'll be a Catholic, and you can be a Jew because of that experience.
I don't want to be a
That's how
Jew.
it happens.
I like bacon.
I'll be an atheist, cultural Jew.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I like bacon too.
We all like bacon.
All right, fine.
Bacon's the bomb.
Yeah, I was just thinking, to make it a little bit. Oh yeah, no, okay. So like we do with the live show every month, and we'll have some audience participation with some of the games we have and stuff like that. We'll probably tighten up the open mic a little bit, but that's kind of some of the plans we're working on.
Yeah.
We were gonna have a little getting to know you section. That's what I was starting off by saying.
Yeah.
But we're sort of BSing, and that's.
Well, we can still do a
That's
small
fine.
portion.
We
still
can
got
still do
time.
a little bit. Let's do it. Let's do
all right.
do an intro to Ryan.
Let's highlight the Duffster.
Well, what do you want to know? I'm
So were you raised religious?
No, I wasn't.
No?
I was actually raised completely outside of religion. There's no religious influence on me as a kid. I knew about religious stuff. Like, I knew about the story of Adam and Eve. Like, I can actually remember being a kid and going to my mom and being like, so, if these Adam and Eve people were the first two people on this earth, that means we all related, right?
So where did you hear about Adam and Eve?
I would go to, every once in a while, I'd go to, like, my friends' churches and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was I always liked learning as a kid, as
Yeah.
long as it intrigued me.
Yeah.
So as a kid, religion did intrigue me as a kid. It was kind of like, what is this whole thing? What's this all about? People I know go to it. And growing up in Wisconsin, it's, there's a big Catholic, big Protestant, but there's also I had plenty of friends who were Jewish, and I had a couple Muslim friends, and everybody. So it's a big mixture of different religions. And I think for the most part, most all of them are Abrahamic religions and all believe in
Yeah.
some sort of
Like
avenue
I
story.
can't imagine that there are a whole lot of Buddhists in Wisconsin or
I was even surprised.
There's
hear,
Amish,
yeah.
well,
not
that
Buddhist.
That doesn't
Well, yeah.
surprise me at
That's
all.
just super Christian.
Jews and Muslims in Wisconsin and Oshkosh does a little bit, but
Well, I wouldn't go with Buddhist. There are like the New Age culture was getting big in high school.
Sure, yeah.
Eh,
As far as like,
Yeah.
well, for us, it was the New Age was let's go smoke some weed and discuss our relationship
Oh,
with
okay.
the heavens and the earth. And
New Agey stuff really bothers me sometimes.
Yeah.
all religions were New Age at one point.
Yeah.
Well, well, let's jot that down
But,
for another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't really gone over New Age
Yeah.
stuff.
We need to have an episode on woo.
Yes.
But anyways, I remember one of the first times when I basically said this is fucked with religion was I was probably about 13 years old, and my aunt had became heavily Baptist. Like they
Like Southern
got it,
Baptist,
yeah, that style, like hardcore Baptist. all of a
OT
sudden.
people.
And I remember I biked out to my cousin's house. My mom got mad at me for that. But the next day was Sunday. So my aunt's like, well, I'm taking them to church before I take them home. So we had to go to church with my aunt that morning. And I can remember the pastor, whatever they call him. I think they call him
Pastor.
pastors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say pasture?
It sounded
yeah.
like pasture.
Pastor.
That's a true Wisconsin native right there.
He was wearing.
I can remember
he had
the
a-
pastor saying, "You better do better.
You're going to hell.
Better do better."
But he had asked all the kids to come up front in the church and sit basically like right in the aisle, right in front of the pew and between all the pews and right in front of his podium. And I didn't go up there because I'm like, oh, this guy's creepy.
Yeah.
He had a Winnie the Pooh tie on. And he started talking about Winnie the Pooh and the honey and all that
Don't
kind of stuff. And
bother.
how Winnie the Pooh does not share the honey, so Winnie the Pooh is a sinner. You don't want to be like Winnie the Pooh. And my thought going through my head at the age of like 13 is like, this is like a kid's story and you're making it evil.
Yeah, you're making it bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing wrong with Winnie the Pooh. It's a fucking story. And I'm like, you know what? This guy's full of shit. He's just fucking telling stories too. That's all this is. And I can remember,
And Winnie the Pooh is a cute story too. At that, I mean, it's not just a story. It's kind of a rather pleasant one.
there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing evil about Winnie the Pooh.
I don't know. You can get
No.
that. You can get much more innocuous than Winnie the Pooh.
And
Yeah.
then I can remember going to like the Bible studies with my cousins a few times, and they'd be reading like stories of the Bible for younger kids, and I was like, "You guys, oh wait, you think this is real? You think this is real?" I'm like, "Oh, I thought this was fucking story time. You believe this shit? Like I ain't coming back. You think this is? Whoa! Now I get it." And it's like that's when I started realizing people actually believe there's some fucking sky guy up there and that he's
There's
actually
an invisible
real.
sky daddy.
Like this is, and I 'cause I remember, and then going through high school and they're going through like Greek mythology and the Odyssey and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, this is what God is to me.
Yeah.
He's a
Right.
mythology. It's a story. No one believes this is true anymore.
Right.
Why the hell do people still believe this is true?
Yeah.
And I never really. Then it was actually coming here to Utah, like that made me get into it and start reading more about religion and going, these people are fucked in the head.
Right.
I mean, it's because in Wisconsin, it's not. People don't care what religion you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be any. It doesn't matter.
Not
Getting
as
here to
much, yeah.
Utah, people put a lot more emphasis on your religion, so I started becoming more
More aware
active
of
and
it,
more
yeah.
searching out groups that were like me because it was like, well, this is
Well, it's the
is weird.
second most religious state in the country, besides behind
Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah.
and that says a lot. It's between Alabama and I think Mississippi.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I've hated the people that are always like, well, this is a Mormon state. And I'm like, no, this is a state in
This
the
is a state with a
United
lot of
States of
Mormons in
America.
right.
You do not get to dictate a
So-
state
But with Herbert,
religion.
So are your parents not religious then either? I'm guessing
No,
because
well, because my dad doesn't. I don't really talk to my dad much about it. My grandmother grew up, and she actually went to a Catholic school.
your dad's
Yeah.
mom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He. Then my mother's father. He was the Navy veteran. The fought in the Korean War. The truck driver type guy. He never spoke anything religion wise ever growing up. My grandmother actually. She has one cross up in her house. But she never really doesn't really talk about it. I don't know if my grandmother knows I'm an atheist, We don't really
Okay.
talk religion with my grandmother because she's
Yeah.
old and might not get it.
Sure. No, I understand.
She still uses racial slurs sometimes. It doesn't get grandma. You can't say that.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my mother she's never was. I think she's born up completely, basically without much religious influence. And I was talking to my dad the other night. I think it was my mom I was talking to, and she's like, "Well, I don't know if I'm an atheist or not." She goes, "Well, atheism is religion too, isn't it? Really?" I'm like, "No, Mom." I'm like, "It's the complete opposite." I'm like, "Do you believe in Bigfoot?"
Yep.
She goes, "Well, no." Well, then I'm like, that's basically you're an atheist towards Bigfoot.
Yeah,
you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Do you belong to a group that does not believe in Bigfoot? Is there an organization for that? He's like, "Well, no." I'm like, "Well, there isn't really a religious influence for atheists. It doesn't describe.
Yep.
It's the no. It's like it's theist is the yes, atheist is the no."
Well, and people
Yeah,
don't seem to get the whole notion of, yes, I'm an atheist, and that's what I choose to identify myself as, but it's running counter to the pervasive religious culture that I happen to live in.
Yes.
If everybody believed in Bigfoot and we're trying to pass laws that I should worship Bigfoot, or that people who don't believe in Bigfoot are lesser than or shouldn't be treated equally, I would be a Bigfootist.
Yes.
Right. And the thing is, like, it's only because that's what's popular right now.
Yeah.
Christianity. Nobody has a problem. Like, even atheists today will say, "Well, I'm not going to say that I'm certain there's no Jesus." Right? We'll say
I will say
that.
there's no proof.
Of course. But anybody, even a Christian, is going to say there's no Zeus. And there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no problem. There's no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give you an ounce of controversy about that. So it's only because Jesus is the issue at this time.
Yeah.
And obviously your mom hasn't listened to episode 2 of the Godless Rebelution, where we cover atheism as a
Probably
religion.
not. But I mean, like, if you told I was gonna say Romans. I was thinking the first god that came to my head was Apollo. I don't know if did the Romans believe in Apollo, or is that further back?
I don't know. Tracy's big on Greek, and she's big into the whole mythology.
Well, I was gonna
stuff.
say, if you told them to go fuck Apollo, they might kill you.
Yeah,
Nowadays, you say fuck Apollo, they're like, who?
like Apollo Creed, like from Rocky,
Or like the astronaut program.
he was attractive, I guess, if you're into black guys.
But I mean, I think it's the same way, and I regrettably say it, but I think Christianity will go as the wayside of mythology, and we'll have a new one replace it.
God, I really hope we don't have.
I hope you don't, but
Yeah,
I mean, look at all the religion. I mean, Mormonism is a new religion by context of the years it's been around. Scientology, that's only been around for like, what, 40?
is a new religion. Yeah,
It's a new religion, and it keeps growing.
I don't understand how Scientology keeps growing. I mean, there's a lot of backstory chatter about why it's growing and why certain people remain in the faith.
I think they're well funded, like the Mormon Church, and they got their PR is way better than the Mormon Church.
They're well funded. They're well funded. They fucking sue everybody, and a lot of the back chatter about Scientology is that a lot of the more active proponents of Scientology, the Church of Scientology, has dirt on them that if they were to ever speak out about it, they'd release all of this information that these public people don't want released about themselves.
But in my opinion, you're always
kind of a
going to
blackmail religion.
You're always going to have people that are at a weak point in their life, and when someone's at a weak point in their life, a lot of times people turn towards a religious idea during a weak point.
You get that from fucking missionaries all the time. Whenever I run into a missionary and they come up and they start trying to talk to me, whatever, and I shut them down on the religious thing, and we chit chat for a little bit, and then it always ends with them saying, "Well, do you know anybody else in the neighborhood or anybody else around who is struggling right now, who could use some guidance?
Because they're the easy ones to
who is
prey
going
on.
through some issues and some problems." Right. The emotionally fragile people that we can go and fucking prey on.
You giving them a false
And I don't mean PRAY, I mean EY.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get into some of this next week if I do my little thing. But like at some of the lowest points in my life, I remember thinking, where the fuck is God right now? Where the fuck is he? You know,
Yeah.
he's the one that's supposed to know me and know exactly what I need. These other humans don't get it. Where the fuck is the one person that they say is supposed to... And he never, not once did he ever come.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I had like one of my best friends in high school who was that tattoo is about, who was killed our senior year of high school in a car wreck. He got hit. His whole family was hit in the car, and he was ejected and killed.
Oh, jeez.
But he was a hardcore. Well, he was Christian. He was originally from Korea. His whole family went to a Korean church in Chicago.
Oh, interesting.
It was actually on their way home.
Korean Jesus don't want to hear about your problems.
Well, it's actually on their way home from church in January that they got hit.
Have you guys seen that? Is that too vague a reference? 21 Jump Street?
No, 22 Jump Street.
No, it was in 21 Jump Street.
Oh, because they do it again.
22 is the new one.
Yeah.
22 is the sequel. It's part 2. But 21 Jump Street is...
Oh, because in 22 they go to a new church and it's a different god they're making fun of.
Oh, really?
It's across the street.
Stop bothering Korean Jesus. Korean Jesus ain't got time for your problems.
That's why they had to move to 22 Jump Street. It's across the street. But anyway, like, we would always, like, out at lunch every day in high school and stuff, and we would always have, like, religious debates because I was kind of still curious. I was an atheist, but I didn't know what an atheist was at the time. It wasn't
Right.
It wasn't a word I knew, and what I did know of it was like, oh, an atheist, that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
I'm not an atheist.
sure.
I just don't believe in a God.
Yeah.
Right.
But we'd always have debates and stuff, and when he died, it was kind of like, I know he's not getting heaven. I know there is no heaven. I know I'm not going to see him again. I just have the memories I have of him and all that good stuff, and I can remember him that way. And I'm like, that's how someone lives.
Yeah.
It's not that you get to see him again; it's that you can remember the good times you had with that person through photos or just memories. And I'm like, that's how a person lives on. There's no heaven. There's no God. It's after like a few generations, no one will know of any of us.
Yeah. Or even
your memory's gone.
Even the bad times. I've had some friends die that I didn't get along with that well. And I never went to their funerals and said, oh, this was a great dude. No, I was just like, you know what? He's dead, but I still don't get along with this fucker.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shit I learned from him. We just and that's how it is. I mean, that's what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny. My great uncle died last week, and we had the graveside service for him on Sunday, and I was struck by how religious a lot of the talk was during his funeral, because I don't remember even a single time while he was alive, while spending any time with him at all, that he ever brought up religion whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. Not a fucking word about it.
But the talks are going to be reflective of who's giving it.
Yeah. And of course, we're here in Utah, so most of my family's very LDS, and hearing a lot of my other relatives talk about him and deliver a eulogy and a life sketch and all of that kind of stuff, it was centered around he believed in Joseph Smith and that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the one and true restored church of God here on the face of the earth, and I know that he's in a better place now, and he's, I kept hearing them say, I know, and I know, and
like,
I
you
know.
don't
And
know.
it's like, no, you don't fucking know.
That just means
this is what you want to believe.
Yeah.
You don't fucking know it.
I really, really believe it.
Yeah.
That's what they think no means.
You don't know it. It's what you want to believe. You really, really want to believe it. You don't fucking know it.
Because no one wants. Well, I mean, you'd know it. I think as most atheists would go, they're dead, they're gone. It's a finite thing.
Sure.
That's why I think when people say, "Well, as an atheist, what do you got to live for?" I'm like, I got everything to live for.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got this.
I
one
have everything
life
to live for.
live.
I have nothing to die for.
Yes.
Way more to live for.
It's like you're waiting for that time to die to go to your celestial heaven, which you don't even know if it exists. I'm like, I got everything to live for here. I got things to see, things to do. That's why I love photography. I like to get out and rappel off of mountains to see
well,
things.
And I mentioned earlier,
and
fucking beautiful photos while you were out camping. last week, man.
you're a great
Those were
photographer.
awesome. I mean, really cool.
I might try to start selling photos.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lot of people come up to me and say to me, "Why don't you go to the not the fairs, but swap meets?
Swap meet or the farmers market.
Yeah, make some prints.
Yeah,
and go there and sell prints of your photos. And people are like, I would buy one. I've actually had people at work like, I want
really
a print of that photo.
Cool. Yeah.
So I might actually do that. Just the capital to start it, make all the prints, then go from there. But
I would say my favorites that you took were the moon over the lake.
Yep.
And just the stars in the sky.
Yeah, with the Milky Way coming over the mountain.
Dude, I just had an idea right now.
What?
Do it.
So we need to update our logo.
Yep.
Because Dan is a regular, right?
Sure.
He's a part of this group. For now, we only have Ryan and myself on the logo. So what I was thinking was, since I'm more of a traditional artist, I was going to take pictures of the three of us and kind of caricaturize them.
Okay.
Make like a hand drawing
of each of us,
caricature of the three of us.
Yeah.
We should set that in front of a backdrop of one of your photos.
All right, I'm cool with that.
Yes. Yeah, they were really, really cool. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them.
I've seen a
they
few
were,
of his. Yeah.
They were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go camping in a couple weeks with Atheists of Utah to be able to see a whole lot more stars. Like, you forget with all of the light pollution and everything living here in the city, you can look up and you can see some stars and everything, and it looks nice. But it's
you get out
that
there,
camping away from all of the light pollution when you can actually see like the band of the Milky Way.
Where you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's so dark.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy just laying on my back and it's kind of like maybe it's because I'm an atheist and I can look at the night sky and awe and just think, those are
awesome.
solar systems and stars with other planets surrounding them. Billions and billions
of light years away.
It's like
whole galaxies.
Then it's looking at it and thinking sometimes like, how many of those stars are dead?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How long ago was that light emitted from that star?
Yeah.
And now it's reaching my eyes. I'm like, that star could let that light go before
Earth
was
burned
created.
itself out billions of years ago, and I'm just now seeing the light from it.
That's literally traveling in time. Was it Neil deGrasse Tyson that said that? He goes, if you want to travel back in time, just look at the stars.
Yeah. I don't know if it was him, but he says things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean,
I get chills just even talking about that kind of shit. Like, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, you've got beams of light shooting through the universe, and the Earth like coalesces from the accretion disk, and all of a sudden it's in the path of this light that's been traveling for billions of years from a star that's now dead. And we're seeing that.
And to me, that's way more magical to think of that, which is knowledge, and you actually know it's true, versus some guy just did it. He put some dots in some fucking paper up there, and it's just above your head.
Right, and tell that to someone who's stoned out of their mind and blow their fucking shit.
If they're on LSD, he will become God to them.
You'll never talk to them again. Yeah.
But I think
you blew my mind, man.
I think when you look at the world around you that way, and you can look at something in a more, even just in a simplistic way, of even looking at an arrangement of a flower, just seeing like, not that it's designed, but it's like, that is that way, a certain color to attract that bee to come to it and specifically lay pollen on it, so when it flies the next one, it'll basically impregnate that one. You're basically watching plant sex going around you in a weird way of thinking of it. But it's knowing that through evolutionary traits of that plant, that's how it survived. And that's why some people are like, well, it's like that because God created it. I'm like, no, it's like that because if it wasn't, it wouldn't fucking be here.
Yeah.
It wasn't created. Yeah. If it didn't work in the ecosystem with all the other plants and animals and life around, it wouldn't be here. It would have died out. It wouldn't have worked.
So when did you start accepting and using the word atheist in your life?
I would honestly say maybe 6 years ago.
Okay, so
in the military. When I was in the military, I was kind of going
early 20s, early to mid 20s.
Yeah, probably around 20. Well, I'm 30 now. It's probably right around 23, 24.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got the time that I did too.
Yeah, you beat me, both of you guys.
Well, I mean, that's when I really realized that atheist wasn't a bad word.
Yeah. Right.
Atheist wasn't some... Because I guess my understanding, when I originally thought of an atheist, I thought of, and I just couldn't think of the term, someone that believes in nothing. You believe in absolutely... A nihilist. And I'm like, then I kind of learned, I'm like, well, that's... A nihilist is someone who doesn't believe in anything, nothing. Doesn't believe in love, doesn't believe in the stars, doesn't believe in anything. I'm like, an atheist is someone who doesn't believe in one thing.
You could be a brain in a jar.
Might be a little bit of a characterization of nihilist,
but basically at the essence of the term nihilist, it's someone that doesn't believe.
Quote, I put this in quote. No true meaning in ultimate terms.
Yeah, but I see, I guess, meaning in things, but not as a God did it. It's like, well, that
right, sure, yeah, of course.
It's like I had watched.
You have a much better understanding and a much deeper knowledge and appreciation for the world around you than just thinking, "Oh, some guy put that there.
Yeah, God did
awesome."
It.
Yeah.
Or even like, because I like to go hiking and go climbing a lot, and a lot of times I'll look at the rock faces and think, "Well, I can see the layers in this one. I can see the layers in this one. I'm like, oh, that this rock face shifted from up below this one, and
right.
And looking, I'm like, oh, this one is facing vertical. So this actually like came out of the ground. Like if you go out the San Rafael Flats." all that is basically a tectonic plate that pushed up.
Yep.
So all the striations go down at an angle out there. So it's like that's just
That's a subduction.
Yeah, it's just interesting to look at all that stuff and look at it through more of an eye of this took billions and billions of years to create, not a flood in 40 days.
Right. And not to backtrack, but in the same way that Christians are atheists toward the Greek myth and stuff, and everyone knows that, but they're also nihilists, even though they deny it. If you ask them, well, they say atheists don't have meaning. Well, you say, well, what about the Muslim suicide bomber?
Well, yeah.
What does he do that for? His life? Well, of course not. What does he do it for? The 72 virgins? Well, he's not going to get that.
But
So
he
then
thinks
what?
he is.
So he believes in nothing. He's not going to get anything
No.
out of it. I mean, so ultimately they're nihilists in terms of other religions anyway.
Mhm.
So just another point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very valid one, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
But I think, it's then in recent years, like I would say within the past 3 years, Neil deGrasse Tyson's become my hero.
Oh, guy's phenomenal.
Like I can't remember what I first saw him on, where I really like this guy. I'm like, I get this guy.
Yeah.
Like he is someone who
Yeah.
I would just love to sit down and just talk to and pick his brain. And I love watching like on YouTube just lectures where people will ask him questions and he won't belittle them in it.
Right.
Like sometimes Dawkins
Yep.
might do a little
No, I get
belittling,
you.
Yeah.
but he will
Totally.
talk to you like a human and be like, try to explain it. He wants to educate. He wants to teach. And I'm like, I like
I know.
this guy.
I
I,
keep-
love Dawkins
that-
too, but he
that-
can be a little
The
hostile
last
sometimes.
2 episodes of the Cosmos, like
dude.
I was moved to tears. Like,
yeah.
wow, just
Dude,
so cool.
I swear I almost had a tear roll on my eye that very first the end of the first episode where he's sitting on that cliff and he's going through his day planner. He's like, here is the day planner where I went to go meet
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan
Yeah.
and Carl Sagan,
Yes.
and now I'm sitting on the same spot
Yep.
where Carl Sagan sat, what was it, 30 years ago, doing this very episode.
And every bit as deserving.
And I was like, you know what? I'm like, that's amazing. Like, if it wasn't for Carl Sagan being that inspirational to him, I don't know if he would have been the same person to
No,
have
definitely not.
Carl Sagan
Yeah.
go, do it.
Definitely not. I mean, his life trajectory would have been completely altered.
That's why I
For
think
sure.
we need more people like him to be inspirational to youth to say,
Yeah.
look how awesome this is. This isn't boring. This isn't something nerdy.
Yeah.
This is really cool. And then when you understand it, and you can look at the night sky and kind of look at it in awe and be
which is
inspired by it.
why I give him a pass on not fully adopting the mantle
Well,
Of atheist.
and label of atheist.
I've given that I've let that go a long time
Yeah.
ago for a lot of reasons I won't go into right now, but there's a half a dozen fantastic reasons why I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the greatest leaders in science today.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that, but I mean, and I've said this to you two. I don't think I've said it on the air or on the podcast before, but the Beyond Belief conference in 2006, Neil deGrasse Tyson gives a speech and a lecture that's just fucking unbelievable, and you have to watch that. It's about intelligent design.
Which year was it?
The 2006.
Okay.
And the evolution of science. He's again, just like you said, he doesn't draw a clear line between atheism and intelligent design. He plays both sides of that a little bit, but he also makes some really great remarks that let you kind of know where he stands on that.
oh yeah.
But
Well, he
I
always
think
does.
it's because he doesn't take a really hard line on atheism that allows him to be in the public sphere and his charisma and his
and
intelligence.
it's why so many
and-
religious people are terrified of him.
Yep, and that's why he's so brilliant.
Yeah.
and that's why he's the perfect spokesman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
You'll have
I-
to post a link to that when we get the
okay.
when we get the
And
podcast.
and
out.
I've got the video.
Yeah.
I've got it on my hard. Oh fuck, do I?
I'm sure it's on
I-
YouTube
I-
or
Yeah.
it is, but I mean, I had it all saved, and I just
I'll look for it tonight. And I'll try to actually, maybe I can post a link to that right in the actual Podbean thing. Then it'll be on YouTube. Not
Yeah.
YouTube, I mean iTunes.
We'll
will have an
try
actual
that,
link
yeah.
to it in it.
that'd be good.
I only hesitated because I had about a 65 gigs of stuff that I've collected over the last 12 years, reformatted by my 13-year-old's Xbox, and that I
Oh,
can't get to,
no.
so I'm not
Nice.
sure if that's part of that or not. But anyway,
oh, sad face.
but still really fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was going to say one of the greatest things. Sorry, not to take attention.
Oh, no.
I know, but that I took from that I've taken from the whole time he's been in the public sphere was, I don't remember, I think it was an interview with Dr. Tyson where they were asking about who his heroes and leaders and all this kind of stuff. You know, of course, Sagan and all that kind of stuff. But really, it was just that he said, look, it's what I wanted to do. If I waited for a black male from New York City to be an astrophysicist to pave the way so that I could do this, I'd be here forever.
Yeah.
I'd be waiting forever.
Yeah.
I just went and did it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. You fucking awesome bastard.
You magnificent bastard.
Right. And I was like, of course.
That's almost another lesson right
Just
there, is
brilliant.
saying if you wait for something to happen, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to be handed to you, sure. But I mean...
Like, if you pray for something all the time, you just wait for it to happen. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, way to bring it back.
Get out there.
Exactly.
Get out there and do it.
Yeah.
The only way something's going to happen in your life is if you make it happen. If you work towards it and you strive for a goal. Like, if you set a goal and be like, you know what? I need to do this to achieve this, to achieve this, to achieve that, and do it. Like, right now, I want a Corvette.
Yeah.
My first goal is I'm paying my Jeep off early. I'm working on that one. Then I got to clean my garage. Once the garage is clean, it'll have room for the Corvette.
Right.
And then once the Jeep is paid off, the garage is cleaned out, it's Corvette time.
There you go.
Yay.
You have a goal from the age of 5, you can achieve it.
And I know Tyson has more guts than me because I wouldn't have been able to rock a 70s porno stash all the way through the 80s and 90s like that. Into when it came back into style.
I had one a few years ago. You can find it on Facebook.
You had a porn stash?
Oh, I had the straight, it was over my bottom lip, and I had the handlebars coming all the way down and hanging off the bottom of my chin.
Oh, my.
Yeah. That's,
I tried
hashtag
growing...
Hillary Duffy.
So,
wait, what's your first name?
So I've got the long beard, and for a few weeks, it was probably a month and a half. I decided, okay, well, I'm going to let my mustache grow, and I'll just, part it down the middle and try to separate it out to the sides and everything. It drove me fucking nuts, dude. I couldn't have it hanging over my mouth. Anytime I tried to eat anything, drink anything, I had a mouthful of fucking hair.
Nice.
And in the shower, trying to clean that shit off, it was just always in my mouth, blocking edge. It drove me fucking nuts. I had to finally trim it.
That was when I finally shaved mine off, was when basically I would drink a beer, and half the beer would end up, running down the side of my mustache. I know you guys can't see it. This isn't a good photo of it. But this is me. This is literally 3 years ago. This is before it got long.
That doesn't even look like you. That looks like a different guy.
That's me. Well, I got out of the military, and you're not allowed to grow facial hair.
Yeah.
Dude, were you driving a IROC Z at that time?
I actually did used to have...
no way!
Not an IROC.
Not an IROC.
I had an 85 Trans Am.
No, that's the same, dude.
There.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice.
Holy shit, man.
That doesn't even look like... That looks...
you can tell.
That looks like a 40-year-old man right there.
And this is such great podcasting, but that's so funny. And the thing
I just keep showing pictures of these guys.
Well, now you have to post photos of this shit
dude,
too.
that's actually fairly sweet.
I like the handlebars.
I got it. He's got like
the curl. It's curled up.
Mustache wax.
It's
all
the little handlebars
and curled up at the ends. Yeah,
you'll have to post that shit. That does not even fucking look like.
Maybe if Emily allows it, I'll grow back the handlebars.
If you honestly, if you were to post that, I would not even fucking recognize you. It doesn't even look like you at all.
Yeah. And I can't really make fun of you because I've kind of I mean I know you're Irish too, but my Irish is all leprechaun sideburns.
Yeah,
I've got like the Asian sort of style 3-hair goatee,
the summer beard, summer here, summer here,
summer there. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. That's even me with the goatee when I was on terminal leave from the military, waiting to get picked up as a civilian.
That one looks a little bit more like you, but still, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like if somebody showed me that picture and said, "Who is this?" I
but I'm like 24 in that photo.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, yeah. You look much older than 24 in that photo.
Yeah.
So you age well, man.
Or I should just stop showing pictures of you guys because there's me at 20.
You look Russian.
Yeah, a little bit.
I look because I'm trying to give that I'm in Iraq, and this is my stern face.
This is my badass face.
Then you go to this is me in Iraq. I like to play jokes.
Don't be
Don't
be pussy.
Me in a porta potty with a roll of toilet paper on my M16.
Oh, jeez. Well, we should probably move on to something more interesting for the listeners.
Well,
All right.
Well, and I wanted to say, so you said you adopted the label of atheist when you were 23, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What benefit has that provided you at all?
I don't know, but it's at work. It's brought more people going, well, you're just an atheist. Sometimes. So sometimes it's a little bit of strife, and sometimes it brought out, like I said, my aunt's
what do you mean?
really hard. Like, it'll be around Christmas, and people are like, why the fuck do you care? You're just an atheist.
Oh.
Like, if there's something that's going on in the news,
Okay.
like if there's a story about the Pope hiding child molesters, and I go off on a rant, like, why do you care? You're an atheist.
Sort of a way to discredit your opinion.
Pretty much saying,
Yeah.
well, you're just an atheist, so why do you even have an opinion on it? You shouldn't have
actually,
an opinion
I care
about
more
it.
than you do because, yeah.
But still, people at work still kind of go with the, you're an atheist, you don't believe in anything.
Oh.
Ugh.
I'm like, no, you motherfucker. I believe in a whole lot of shit,
Yeah, have you-
not a god.
Have you asked me?
Yeah, and I've
my
done it.
beliefs are?
I've talked to people at work. There's one guy that I work with who I call him culturally Mormon. And I think I brought that up before, where he drinks, he has fun, he's a great guy, but he always defends Mormonism, call himself a Mormon.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're culturally Mormon.
I think we're still
You're not
kind of
actually
in the middle
Mormon.
of that argument.
Yeah.
I know Dan's on one side of that. I think you're on the other, and I'm kind of.
Well, I'm like, well, his
sort of
whole
being
family's
right.
Mormon, and his whole family's church
Yeah.
is going
Jack
Mormon.
Mormon.
He's Jack Mormon, but he doesn't even go to church.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
He went on a mission, did all that stuff.
I think I agree with that. He's Jack Mormon.
Yeah.
He believes it, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't
No.
believe it enough.
Well, he
to
doesn't even
do it.
believe it. He doesn't know what his religion teaches him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. Yeah.
He's Mormon for the sake of his parents.
He's
a
a
Jack
chapel Mormon.
Yeah. But I even had a talk with him one day, and he's homophobic, but towards all the stuff, like the gay stuff in the media, and I kind of bring it up, and I've even said to him before, I'm like, when did you decide to be straight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
you-
whole gay as a choice
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
He's like, well, gay's not. You choose to be. They choose to be gay, and it's disgusting. And I'm like,
I love that. That's my favorite thing to say to people when they say that being
Yeah.
gay is a choice.
Yep.
Oh, it's a choice?
Easy.
Well, when did you
You
choose to date people of the opposite sex
Yeah.
exclusively, to set aside your attraction for other men
So
Yeah.
you were
and
born,
just date
yeah.
women? When did you decide to set aside your attraction for other
Yeah.
men and date
Yep.
women exclusively?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's
You're like,
oh,
it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Only if you're like, well, vagina's disgusting. So when did you decide to put that? When did you decide to think that was?
yeah. But he's one of those guys at work now that won't like question the
I'm not saying it
atheist
is.
thing.
I'm
though,
just
too.
saying that.
yeah.
But that's okay if you think that.
Yeah, the gay as a choice thing is
No,
is-
it's-
it's always
so
fun for me
stupid.
whenever
Yeah, yeah.
anybody says that. I'm like, oh, really? Well, when did you?
He's putting his hands together like
Patty cake.
like sort of patty caking. Yeah. Kind of like at the live show with his robot Jason, which nobody saw unless you were at the show.
But the only like my aunt came out hardcore, like going at me with crazy like questions, like, well, how can you believe that? How can you not believe this? How can this not be true? How can this not be true?
Yeah.
And this is when I was like, before I really got reading into stuff, I was like, well, and I had very childish answers of just being like, well, fuck
It just
you.
doesn't make
Fuck
any
you.
sense. Yeah.
Like, then I didn't like now I'd have more to back it up with and more to kind of go, well, I don't really have a scenario.
So
in
you
place,
say
but
that your aunt, is this your mom's sister?
my
dad's
mom's sister.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so if your mom wasn't really raised with religion, how did your aunt?
I don't know if this. I know the reason why,
yeah.
and I'm not supposed to know the reason why.
Oh,
Well, let's.
is it one of those born again Christian because they really fucked up things?
Because someone fucked up.
Well,
Yeah.
let's not air it. I mean,
So that's something that I probably would
yeah, let's not.
like.
Yeah.
I don't even know if my
Let's not air it. No, you're good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So, but she would always be going at me and stuff, and I remember it's well, this is kind of a little off that, but my brother got married 4 or 5 years ago, and his wife, my brother's basically an atheist. He had no religious significance whatsoever in his wedding. He got married by his best friend. We had a live rock band playing the wedding and stuff, and it was just a big party.
Yeah.
A very formal party. It was really nice and elegant, but it was a party. But like 2 years ago, he sends me this picture at Christmas where he had to go spend Christmas with her family, who's religious. and they're in the church, and he took a picture of the ceiling, and it's got a huge crucified Jesus like hanging from the ceiling for midnight mass. He's like, "Zombie Jesus is coming." I'm like, "Get him!
Well,
Put him back up!"
Well, I only asked because I know a lot of people who are like born again Christians who the only reason they're born again Christians is because they fucked up so fucking terribly in their life that they feel the only way that they can obtain salvation and forgiveness for the horrible fucking things they've done is to be super Christian now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how many people I know who were fucking drug addicts, who cheated on their wives multiple times, who beat their children, who stole from their companies, who did, just really fucking horrible, terrible things, who are now like super Christian.
Yeah, right.
And it's I found Jesus and it turned my life around.
And that's what religion is to me. It's selling an idea you cannot prove. It's selling you something you can't back up.
Well, I mean, it's a solution to a problem they've created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I love the whole thing.
The idea of sin, I don't accept it at all. But they sell sin and then the solution to it. And sin ultimately, the definition of it is an offense to God.
Yeah.
I don't accept sin at all. But they sell that as the problem.
Yep.
Well, you're a sinner. Forgiveness is the solution.
Yeah.
I brought up to work one day when I said, well, if God's benevolent and present.
Yep.
Why is there hell? And he's like, what do those words mean?
Why is there even salvation?
Omni what?
But
that was
it's kind of going,
once,
but
right?
if you believe that's how God works, then you go, well, then I like the line where it goes, he obviously knew what he was doing when he created sin. He knew there would be a hell, and he knew he would be sending you to it.
Yep.
How the fuck is that someone that's a good guy?
Yeah.
He's the one who created a place for you to burn for eternity.
And created evil. And
it's the problem of evil, yeah.
I'm like, Satan isn't the bad guy. God's the fucking bad guy. Satan's just the guy that got put in charge of the fucking place.
Yeah.
He's the one that got the fucking shitty hotel.
I remember thinking that when I was really young, Like, what if this, when I still believed that there were powers out there, what if this whole, quote, test is to see who's actually smart enough to follow Satan? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it sounds crazy, but I remember thinking about that in bed when I was 11 or 12. I'm like, what if that's the real test about this whole thing?
Like Satan didn't create evil.
No, he didn't cause all these problems.
He's the one that got sent there.
And really, why would Satan torture me forever in hell if I'm doing what he wants me to do?
Yeah.
He'd be like rewarding me. I'm his boy. You're doing an awesome job, dude. You're going to be rewarded.
Well, the thing is, I didn't even think about that because the fact is, there's no evidence at all to suggest that Satan even runs a place like that.
Yeah,
it's just said that he does.
Well,
by his enemy.
He has not written a book yet.
And in order for
yes, exactly. Yeah.
And in order for Satan to rule a place like that, according to Christian theology, God would have had to have created hell. God would have had to have created Satan. God would have had to have created evil. God would have had to have condemned people to hell for being evil, and then given dominion over hell to his ultimate enemy.
Yep.
But then I've heard people say, well, Satan was a fallen angel and he had his own will. It's like, no! You got the gods above them. God had to create the fucking angels too, you dipshit.
Yeah.
And he obviously would have known what all the angels were going to do in the first place. So why would he create one that's going to do something against him and become a fallen angel, and that he's going to have to send to this place? He's going to have to fucking put people that follow this guy and do sins that you fucking created.
Yeah. That's easily solved by, I would say 2 questions, but 1 is sufficient. You say, prove God is good, the good one. Mm-hmm. They can't do it. But second, well, that's all you need. just say, prove God's the good one. That's all you need to do.
Well, according to the Bible, God says he's the good one.
No. You can't use the Bible.
But the Bible says the Bible says it's good.
God had better PR people.
Yeah,
for sure. Right. Well, everyone knows the Jews control the media.
I've been listening to a lot of Tim Minchin lately, and it reminds me of the song "The Good Book."
Like the good book's good because the good book says so.
The good book says, the good book says the good book's good.
Yep.
So that was getting to know Ryan a little bit better. If you have any questions for Ryan, send them in to godlessrebelution@gmail.com, and and we can answer them. If you have any questions about anything.
Or jump on the Facebook and face the booked us and
Face the booked us.
Face the booked us.
we faced the book.
Yeah, and we're pretty good at responding too. I had somebody IM me from Gambia, West Africa, the other day, and talked to him for about 20 minutes. So
Yeah, Matt's great uncle died over there. They didn't know it was related to.
I've had because I was the admin for the Facebook group for Atheists of Utah for quite a while. I've had a couple people, message me who are Christian or Muslim, and I showed you, Matt, last week the conversation I had with the Muslim who wanted to join the group.
Yep.
And he really, really quickly exposed that Islam is not a religion of peace.
Yep.
Didn't you post that one on Facebook?
Yep. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, that was good.
Holy cow, man! Like, I didn't like say anything that wasn't true or wasn't accurate, and he lost his shit.
Yeah. I should clarify just before the tacit connection is made here. The fellow from Gambia that contacted me was a Muslim, but was in absolutely no way trying to push,
Wasn't a scam.
He wasn't a scam. Wasn't trying to push religion. It was just a friendly conversation. Nice enough guy. Just a fellow that's struggling and hungry and that's all. But not connected in any way to what.
Not proselytizing.
No. Just a nice guy, and we had a good chat. And,
Yeah, that kind of reminds me a little bit. Saying the only time where I felt uncomfortable saying that I was an atheist was the last trip I did to Iraq was in 2009, and we were training Iraqi firefighters, and they would bring their fire trucks over to our fire station. We'd fill their trucks with water, and we just bullshit with them. Like, they were actually really nice guys, and we'd have good conversations with them. And one day, one of the guys asked me, "Are you Christian?"
Oh, right.
And I didn't know how to answer it. It's kind of like, well, I'm not religious. He's kind of like, well, what is not religious?
Yeah, you're either Christian, Jewish, or Muslim.
Yeah,
what else is there?
What else is there? You have to believe in a God. And I was like, well, you don't have to. So I was kind of going a roundabout way of saying,
I'm thinking outside the box, yo.
Don't believe there's a God. Like, I didn't actually tell him I don't believe there's a God. I was just kind of like, well, I don't fall in line with those religions. I don't believe what those religions teach. And he was kind of confused about that, like, what else is there?
Is that a thing that just seems totally foreign to
coming
me?
from a place of total ignorance, though, I think a conversation like that might have quite a higher degree of cortisol and adrenaline in wartime than it would.
This guy lived on the base with us. This guy was
but still
he was.
I mean,
he was working for the coalition forces. He was with us. We were training them to take over the flight line, take over the runway, and to work with the Iraqi army as our job. So when we would leave the country, they would be able to provide fire suppression and security.
I'm just saying, I could understand being a little tongue-tied in that situation.
It was not knowing.
It's not like being at Provo Pride.
No, but I'm trying to be respectful of his culture, his religion, at the same time and they want, like, when they would do stuff with us, they weren't outwardly, they would do their prayers and stuff like that, but this is their country. And honestly, I thought it was kind of cool at night. Like, you'd be outside at night and you could hear all those prayer towers going off. And in a way, I thought, I'm like, it's a unique thing that you don't get to experience in many countries besides that. And it's kind of neat.
The call to prayer.
I can see that.
The only time when you worry is when you're standing on top of the fire station. The wall to the base is literally like 100 yards away, and you're looking right into the prayer tower going, I wonder if there's a guy in there with a rifle.
Yeah.
Huh. I hope not.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the only times, because at work right now, everybody knows I'm the atheist.
Yeah.
And some people are like, yeah, dude, I
You're
don't
the
believe in God
resident
either.
atheist, yeah.
And that's why, which I'm going to see if I can't get you one from that sticker from you this week. I had a guy ask me at work, he saw a sticker in the back of my car that said, good without God.
Oh, yeah. Remind
and he's
me
like, dude, where'd you get that sticker from? I'm like, I do a podcast and stuff with the guy who's used to be the president now of Atheists of Utah. And he's like, what? That's a thing? I'm like, yeah, dude. He's like, cool, dude, I need one of those for my fucking beer fridge. I'm like,
remind me before
I'll try
you
to
go.
get you one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, every once in a while now at work, now that people know I'm an atheist, people kind of are more open with going, yeah, dude, I don't believe in that shit either. Right. Some of them are like that. They won't do it in front of a crowd, but they might come to me personally and say,
well, and that's and for me that was one of the big benefits and more beautiful things about coming out as an atheist, is that so many people who for one reason or another are not publicly atheist, but send me private messages saying, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Keep it up. I appreciate it. It makes it easier for everybody else. Hopefully one day I can come out, but I can't right now because of X, Y, and Z. But keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate it."
Yep. Yeah.
So I actually unfriended one of my coworkers on Facebook because at work he's like, "Dude, why you always post that atheist shit?" I'm like, "Don't look at it.
You know you don't have to fucking read it, right?"
Yeah. So I'm like, "Well, if you're so fucking sick and tired of looking at my atheist shit, no longer friends on Facebook. There you go. You don't get to fucking look at it."
Why do you post your Mormon shit, bitch?
Well, he wasn't even Mormon. He's not even...
Wow.
He hates Mormonism, too. His kid became a Mormon. He's like, thing's a fucking cult, those fucking Mormons. He couldn't even go to his own kid's wedding.
Yeah.
That's sad. All right, so that was the getting to know Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll move on to news bits. I'll do next week, but I'm happy to relinquish any time to Ryan for any unfinished business about his story, which is probably far more interesting than mine.
Nah, just
You're good.
30, ex-military, and the foxhole atheist. Foxhole, atheist foxhole dude.
Atheist in the foxhole, which I love.
Or bunker. We had more bunkers than foxholes.
It was kind of funny. So,
atheist in the bunghole. It's perfect.
So
bunker.
At my uncle's funeral service, it was just a graveside service because he, was pretty much born and raised in Brigham City, but then had moved to St. George, and so they had a church service in St. George when he died, and then they, shipped his body up to Brigham City to be interred in the cemetery there in Brigham City, and I found out a lot of really cool stuff that I didn't even know about my uncle. Like I found out that he was one of the chosen few of the Chosin Reservoir in the Korean War.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah, well, my ex-father-in-law was one of the chosen few. I mean, his name is on monuments at Hill Air Force Base, and he's in books and everything. And I thought, shit, this is something I never even knew about my uncle. So that was kind of cool to learn. And then, so that was cool to learn. And then it was funny / sad to see the honor guard out there. I mean, it was these guys who were obviously well into their 70s or older.
So they weren't the hit because
when they went to do the 21 gun salute, like it was and they had representatives from all 4 branches of service.
Okay.
But when they went to do the gun salute, it was these guys who could barely even raise the rifle, like it was, the
recoil of the blank.
Yeah, it was like ready arms, and they get it, and it was aim, and there's like one guy aiming like halfway at the ground, another guy's aiming way up, and another guy's aiming like level at everybody else in the crowd, and everybody's kind of flinching a little bit, but they were set off a little bit, and of course they're just blanks, but then they fire, and it's almost knocking these old guys on their asses, just even the blanks, and it was kind of funny, sad. It was tragic sad.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're listening to this podcast and don't know about the Chosin Reservoir battle during the Korean War,
you should do some Googling on that shit. It
go
was
look
fucking
it up.
Crazy.
It's cold. It was. I think that was in line with a lot of the big major World War II battles. What those guys had to go through.
My ex-father-in-law was zipped up into a body bag because they thought he was dead.
Oh, jeez.
I saw an old documentary probably 7 years ago talking about how fucking cold it was there.
Yeah.
With the wind chill, it was like
stone was cold.
With the wind chill, it was like minus 130 fucking degrees, and they show these guys in their tiny little fucking at Chosin Reservoir. They show these Marines in their tiny little fucking BDUs sleeping with snow on their faces, man, and then they had to march from Chosin Reservoir. This is when the Chinese joined the Korean War and basically surrounded these Marines at Chosin Reservoir. These Marines had to retreat away from there and marched for, I think it was like 72 hours straight. 72 fucking hours walking.
Slogging through snow, wind drifts.
Negative fucking degree temperatures. No stopping, no resting, just amazing shit.
I can't even walk through 72 holes.
I can't even. It's not something I can even fucking think of consciously. Like
people always
it was
think
terrible.
of Bastogne during the Battle of the Bulge, where they had the winter battle there, and it's a whole long part in the Band of Brothers, but that was the winter battle where those guys were freezing in those trenches. They had the wrong uniforms, they had the wrong boots, everything. They had the wrong gear on,
dude.
But that was like
just seeing the shit that these people were wearing. And he had frostbite, so he was zipped up into a body bag. Woke up in the back of a truck in the body bag. Basically, the body bag being in the sun warmed him enough to wake him up, and struggled out of the body bag. Everybody freaked out, and then he had frostbite from his knees down.
Yeah.
When they shipped him off to hospital, they were planning on amputating his legs from the knees down, and he talked them out of doing so. But I mean, his legs were really, really discolored from the knees down, and all kinds of problems. But just I can't, like,
the things that those men went through.
Wow,
and lived through is way worse than some of those. I mean, not discrediting anything that happened to people in, say, Vietnam or World War II or even World War I.
Shit, dude,
but that battle there is it's a very few people know about it. It's not taught well about. But what they endured going through that.
And they say the Korean War is the forgotten war, and it basically is. I mean, nobody really talks about it unless you know somebody who fought in the Korean War and have heard their stories.
I don't give a shit, man. I mean, anybody who's been in any skirmish or military action, I've never done it, so what can I say? You know what I'm saying? I just enjoy all the freedoms that they've sacrificed for.
Yeah.
And including Ryan. And he's here with us, but still, I wanted to. I tried to sign up a few times. They wouldn't have me, but
I actually signed up when I was 17.
Yeah, I tried. I was a juvenile record, and they weren't interested. But,
I was colorblind with bad knees.
But anyway, still, appreciate all that. Should we hit some newsies?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
got some newsies. We'll start with this one. At a Western Conservative Summit this last week, Sarah Palin drunkenly doubled down on her calls for impeachment after a string of word soup tailored together from past conservative talking points. Am I being critical? I need to source these better. This is not me speaking. Am I being critical of Palin's intelligence while she stumbles through this 30-minute speech by calling her, quote, drunken? No. I do believe that Palin is 99% moron, but this one appears to be a moron that had a few too many to drink that evening before she got up to speak for their speaking engagement. Did you see the video?
I haven't. I mean, I don't know if I could sit through 30 minutes of Sarah Palin talking.
I skimmed through it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I honestly hope Sarah Palin runs as a Tea Party conservative and splits up that Republican Party.
That'd be great. I don't see it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Governor Goodhair, Rick Perry in Texas, he probably will. I think he'll run.
I don't think he's got a. I think his chances are just. I think Palin is almost a hero to some of these right wing.
Oh, for sure.
Conservatives, just like Perry and the guy in Texas,
Cruz.
Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. I think will run. I think Romney will run.
You think he's going to? You think Romney will run again?
I think so.
I've heard talks. I don't know if he's got the balls to lose a third time.
Well, he is.
I think he's arrogant enough to think that he can win it this time.
He said after the last one that he wouldn't ever again, but it wouldn't be the first time that he's flip-flopped on something.
Yeah, I think he will because all the polls show that he'd be so far ahead in the conservative vote that
so far ahead of any of the other conservatives
ahead
who would
of
possibly
Palin
run.
and Cruz and
Christie, Perry.
Christie. Yeah,
Perry. I can't imagine why he would fucking run again.
I think he will.
That guy's a moron.
Well, we're talking about Palin now, and he was asking me if I think she'd run, and I maybe, but I think she'd be below Perry even. I think Perry will run before she does, and Cruz will run. I think, and
if Sarah Palin runs, it would be just to raise some money.
Well, I was wondering if she would run because I've heard talk of her wanting to split off and do the Tea Party to form a third party.
And I hope she's already Tea Party, and so is Cruz, and so is Perry.
Well, I mean, right now, Tea Party creates a completely separate party,
a more far right.
Yeah,
well,
completely
because right now
split the
off from the
Republican Party.
Republicans. So you'd have a Democratic Party, a Republican Party, and a Tea Party.
I would love that.
Has there ever been a conservative party? I mean, a party that conservative in the history of? I don't know. Some of the monarchies, maybe.
You mean like in the history of the United States? Has there ever been a
I would
party
say
that conservative?
I would say probably not in the United States.
I just think it would be beautiful. I would love for that to happen.
It would be a good comedy show. I'll get some popcorn.
It would be like the Green Party on steroids.
Yeah.
Talk about splintering the fucking vote.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Shit.
Well, and you see it in all kinds of fucking primary votes and everything for these Tea Party Republicans who win the primary and then get fucking slaughtered in the general election because they're so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They think they're representing the majority of Americans, and they're not.
No.
They're that fucking
when people
deluded.
actually hear what comes out of their mouths unfiltered, it's like
what they're representing is their little neighborhood in the Midwest or the Deep South.
In the land of the lost.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go on with this article then. Did you happen to see that drunken speech, that 30-minute speech that Palin gave at the Western Conservative Summit?
I didn't watch it. Is this the one where she was also calling for Obama's impeachment?
Yep.
Again.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen the headlines, but I didn't get to watch the whole speech.
Well,
I didn't feel like putting myself through that amount of torture.
I'll go on. Her speech didn't ever cover a single issue, but instead turned Tea Party talking points into a macabre poetry slam competition. Palin says absolutely nothing of substance in her speech, aside from her general feelings about society and her hatred of the other side of politics.
Has she ever said anything of substance?
Nope.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, no.
Objectively, honestly, standing by as a third-party participant, has she ever said anything of substance?
I believe not.
Anything that some fucking dipshit sitting on his couch hasn't said before, like something that was revolutionary, something that would, rally everybody behind her, that wasn't completely fucking batshit insane.
No.
Nope.
But she says it with a weird accent.
she's so attractive.
Which is weird because she does have kind of a Midwestern-y sort of accent, but in Alaska.
Yeah.
But it goes on to say that the only thing that seems certain in Palin's world is that Obama is evil and facts are relative. Her drive towards impeachment in the drunken speech strings together random accusations as public facts, most of which have been debunked. Palin even mentions the 2008, quote, loophole signed by former President Bush to give refugee status to children as a reason to impeach Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this whole migration of busloads of immigrant children as
being shouted at by fucking assholes on the side of the road.
Well, and not only that, but also being touted as, quote, a plan by Obama to gain more voters.
Yeah, because those children are going to be able to vote.
Illegal children,
illegal immigrant children
are going to be able to vote for someone who's already served 2 terms.
I've been looking at this whole, not to stray from this too far, but talking about the children immigration thing.
Yeah.
Thinking of a far wider stretch of bad with this. It has something to do with Obama saying, you got these drug cartels that are basically telling these families, hey, guess what? If we take your child across the border, they can stay in the U.S. and they can't do anything about it. And the family's like, okay, I need to get my kids out of here. They're saying that the U.S. right now is harboring
children,
trying to protect their children, and the cartel's feeding off of that. And so right now we got our borders being flooded with all these kids that parents are paying like $4,000 per kid to get them across the border. 2 drug cartels
getting together everything they own just to hopefully try to provide their children a better life than they have.
To make a better life for their kids. And if you're liberal or conservative or whatever, everybody ask yourself, would you do that would you make a better life for your children than you had?
Oh yeah.
Of course everyone would say yes. That's the goal of every decent parent on earth.
But I think if this is another bad side of this is if you want to win a battle, you want to flood as many people towards your enemy as possible. Distract them, get them all messed up.
Sure.
So if they're going to flood the drug cartels with their coyotes running these people across the borders, occupying all of our border patrol agents to wrangle these kids up, try to do something, try to figure out a problem, Well, at the same time, there's like, guess what? Now we got free reign to run our fucking drugs across.
Yeah, well, and that gets into the whole problem of the drug war in general.
But I see the whole kid problem as possibly, in my mind, a tactic by the cartels to try to flood the borders with a big immigration problem that they're trying to focus on, sort of taking attention away from the tunnels and the drugs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, who gives a shit about drugs for right now? I mean, we're talking about homeless children who are, as far as we know, orphans from countries where, they may get a few grains of rice a month.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, they're orphaned. I mean, they're sent to a foreign land by themselves.
And then we've got a whole group of people like fucking Rick Perry and Sean Hannity who are going to team together and border and ride boats with fucking machine guns.
And Rick Perry, who he figures that the mistake he made in the primary was being too soft on immigration, and so now he's taking this hard stance against it.
Yeah.
Okay. So at one point you were more of a human being than you fucking are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's going to win him any more votes?
Here's what I love about Rick Perry. He's like, why didn't you come down and defend the border, defend the border, defend the border? It's like, Rick Perry, it's your fucking border. It's your fucking state.
I mean, partly, and that's fine. But
would you like federal assistance in doing this, Rick Perry?
No, because you're a conservative and deny all federal fucking assistance.
Yeah, well, you fucking got Anyway, but to finish my point is, the whole thing is you can draw arbitrary borderlines wherever the fuck you want. But the point is, you have innocent kids who don't know shit about anything that are basically being shipped by people they don't know, from parents they don't know they even have, and they're coming across and they're meeting fucking machine guns from stupid Tea Party concern. No, fuck you.
No, I was just going to say,
stupid assholes on the side of the road shouting at them.
No, put it in the perspective of you have a kid. You live in a war-torn... No, that's what I'm saying. You have a kid. You live in a war-torn neighborhood. That neighborhood's shit. You got cartels coming through there and it's either you fucking work for us and you work our shit, or we're going to fucking kill you. And you got this opportunity.
Not just you, but your entire family.
And you got the opportunity to say,
and kill your
or you get the option to say, I can send my kid here away from this shit.
Look, I'm on your side. My point is that these guys are looking at it in such a selfish way that it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
What real economic problem are these kids going to cause to the? I mean, they're taking all the jobs. I really wanted to work at a car wash. I really wanted to work at a gas. Fuck that shit.
They're a drain on our health system, bringing over all of these diseases.
That's bullshit. Kids,
and
they don't know anything.
No, the shitty thing is most of these kids will end up going back
at best. At best,
yeah,
or being held in run-down military bases that are being reopened,
detention centers.
Yeah. They'll be in detention centers and foster homes and, anyway, let me continue with this article.
Which even at that is probably better than the environment that they're coming
already
from.
in.
Yeah. I have a lot to say on foster homes too, but we'll have that on, I just feel bad for immigrant kids that are being pushed over the border.
I think
that's
a unanimous thing.
And for the parents that are trying to make a better life for their kids than they had, and I think that those kids deserve the best life the world has to offer. Any kid from any country, anywhere.
Yeah,
that's my say, and everyone's nodding. So
how patriotic would these kids be? How much would they love the United States? How much would they want to contribute to the United States, knowing that this was the one place that accepted them and provided them shelter and loved them and gave them an opportunity to be a better person and to contribute versus living in a fucking war zone, basically.
Even just to give them the minimal of what's left of the American dream.
Yeah.
Just a basic paying, steady job that allows them to have a partner
and not live in fear their entire fucking life.
Yeah, exactly. What a fucking great point. Yeah,
unless they go to Detroit.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, okay, fine, fair enough. But yeah, no, that's what Dan just said is still available. Mm-hmm. As a part of the American. Yes. What a great fucking exact. Why are we not doing that?
Instead, we treat these young children as terrorists. and treat them horribly and treat them like they're waste, and then they're going to go sent back to their country.
Then they go back and what kind of opinion will they
have?
have of the United States after that?
And they're going to become the worst cartel members.
Right.
That fight. Yeah. You know what? I thought this was going to be kind of a
That's
funny
how you raise terrorists.
This was going to be a little fun article about a drunk Sarah Palin, but
That part is fun.
no, I know, but
what she's talking about there is it's a rather serious topic.
yeah, I suppose so. It goes on. The only thing that seems certain in Palin's world is that Obama is evil and facts are relative. Her drive towards impeachment in this drunken speech strings together random accusations as public facts, most of which have been debunked. Palin. Oh, okay. So I already read all that.
Yep.
The video is about 30 minutes long. Of quote, "Are you fucking kidding me?" That's only topped off by the introduction to Palin, which labels her as, quote, "the most influential woman in the history of the Republican Party."
Wow.
It says.
How many times?
Which is not surprising because
The most influential
they've never had
women.
Yeah.
I just want to know, does it say how many times she said Benghazi?
And that, and the final sentence is, that doesn't help the Republicans in their defense of the, quote, war on women at all.
No.
Um,
Can I?
I
was just going to bring, 'cause I brought up the Benghazi thing, so I had a little fact on my phone.
Are you segueing?
No, I'm not segueing at all with this one, because it would have been better.
Because if you were, I would have ruined it
But
anyway.
no, because
By asking.
I've heard that as being one of the reasons why they want to impeach Obama is because of the whole Benghazi thing.
Sure, yeah. Well,
60 people
that
died in U.S. embassy
doesn't
attacks
hold up.
underneath George Bush. Not ever was there a tribunal, a Congress session, a 2 years of Fox News saying Benghazi or one of the 15 places that got blown up while George Bush was in office.
Yep.
They didn't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
We have one incident on a day which would have been synonymous with having any terrorist attack happening, a embassy attacked, and people died.
Yeah.
Yes, it's sad.
I've been spending a lot of time trying to decide exactly why Obama is so disliked, so targeted. You know, I mean, more than Clinton was. You know, Clinton was pretty heavily targeted, but I think Obama has done way less.
Oh yeah,
and has received. You know, and I'm trying to. You know, he's
been.
Let's see. What is the one distinguishing feature?
Yes.
Of President Obama.
Well, they were all men
versus any other.
He's around the average age for a president,
dude. Look, I'll tell you what.
He's getting to have more white hair every year.
That's pretty average.
Clinton was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
He was a great speaker.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
And he was phenomenal in improv and spontaneous speeches.
And he played saxophone.
Where both the Bushes
were horrible.
Failed miserably at that. Obama
I think Bush Sr. was better. Bush Jr.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah, Bush Sr. was better, but not as smooth as Clinton.
No.
But Obama might be even better than Clinton at that. And the guy is so charismatic.
He's good
so
at improving.
He's so confident. Mm-hmm. He's so smooth. He's a good-looking guy.
And it's feared.
But he's black.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Our first
he's black
president.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
The one distinguishing
feature.
That's the
only thing, and that drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That drives me fucking crazy because he would be such a great president if they would let him do his thing.
I don't know if it's just because he's an African American president, or
he's a liberal too, and that has to weigh. That's
what I was going more with.
That has to weigh in on it, but you have to compare him to Clinton because there's so many similarities.
Well, I'm just going with the divide.
But Clinton was never stifled to the degree that Obama.
But the divide when he was a president wasn't as bad as it is now.
But
look at how many times he's.
Well, but it's the divide that is created because Obama is president.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I know when he first took office, the Republican Party said we are going to do everything in our power to ruin his presidency.
Make sure he doesn't get anything done.
We are not. Yeah.
And you had the Republicans coming out in droves saying we're going to make sure that he's a one-term president.
Yeah. Right.
And now that he's not, it's still they're being obstructionists. They're not.
Yep.
I think
not about the
Obama's
country.
greatest failing is that he's tried to work too much across the aisle.
Yeah. Well,
He hasn't
fair
just
enough.
said, you know what, fuck you guys. I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do whatever I can that's within my power to make this a better country for everybody, even though you're sitting on your fucking hands and not doing a goddamn thing.
Yeah, but you know, and the thing that's different about Obama is that you see this kind of vitriol all the way through the ranks of the Republican Party. It goes down to the citizen dumbass Tea Party voters that we have around here, at least in Utah County. And I get a lot of this from my son, who lives with a Tea Party mother, and I tend to be more of a liberal Democrat on my end. And I happen to like Obama.
I do too.
And
I think there's a lot more that he could do that and there's a lot of things that he should have done differently.
fair enough, but I'm
I
not
still love the dude. I think he's a good dude.
I'm not going to. I'm not willing to count all of his faults and say, well, here's what But at the same time, there's a lot more he
I think his biggest problem is he has in his mind this idyllic state of being able to be a Lincolnian president,
But-
not giving enough weight to the fact that he's working with a bunch of fucking assholes.
wait a minute.
He's tried to draw people from both sides of the aisle too much, instead of just saying, this is the way it's going to be. If you don't like it, then fuck you, step aside.
Okay.
I'm going to work to make this a better country, and if you're not going to work with me, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, I think that's what makes a great president great. As long as the rest of the groups of the United States government are willing to work for the good of the country.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And obviously they're not.
No, hold on. Let me go here for a second, because you guys have. But with Obama, they've been against him from the beginning
Yes.
because of these differences. They've said, I'm going to stop you no matter fucking what. I'm going to put everything I have into stopping you from doing the greater good. And he's had more opposition than any other president in the history of this country.
Correct.
In doing everything he wants to do. Now, I understand your criticism of him wanting to play both sides of it, but at the same time, if he was given the freedom that a Clinton was, or that a Kennedy was, or any of the other great Democratic presidents we've had, he would have been hands down the greatest president we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, everybody's so fucking dead set against him because of these things, and I would say a big majority of that is because he's black.
well, yeah,
Or that
absolutely.
he's part black. He's
Yeah,
not even
absolutely.
all black.
Yeah.
And so the fact is, Obama himself has, and I've told my son this too. You just wait. You're 13 now, right? And this is something I hate doing, and I've told him that I don't want to be the guy that says you'll understand when you're older.
Yeah,
but
that
this
sucks,
is
right?
I know, but I told him that. I prefaced it that way. I said I don't do this very often with you, but this is one thing I'm going to say. When shit goes down and you start to have a family or whatever, everyone's going to look back and say that Obama, what he did for this country. The changes he made, what he could have done, who he was. This guy
Had the opportunity and lost it.
No.
Are you going that way?
No,
or?
no. It doesn't even matter now. But I'm just saying, the guy he is, the way he handles himself, the things he's done, the way he's tried to play both sides, I think is going to go down as favorable for this guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think people are going to look back on him once this racial bullshit tension slides to obscurity. People are going to look back and say, yeah, the first black president, first partially black president, whatever, it doesn't matter. Obama, handling the Congress that he was dealt, did a fucking fantastic job. He kept the United States stable. In fact, improved it in the face of John Boehner. In the face of John McCain.
Improved it in the face of all
Sarah
of the
Palin,
opposition
in the
that he
face
is
of
faced
Michelle
with.
Bachmann,
Yeah.
in the face of Ted Cruz,
Yeah.
in the face of Ryan and Rubio and all this bullshit. Everyone's going to look back and say, Obama, Kennedy, Lincoln, Washington were the best
Yeah.
presidents this country's ever seen.
I think so.
One of the talking
Thank
points
you.
I seem to
finish
hate
with
No, I totally
is,
agree.
and I've been hearing it. I actually heard it at work the other day, where people are saying, "We don't apologize. We're America. We're the greatest country on earth." I'm like, no, we're not the greatest country. You know what?
No.
It takes a lot more humility to apologize for something you did wrong than just to go, sorry, we did it. Fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
It takes a way bigger man to go, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not the one who caused this problem, but guess what? We apologize. We made a mistake.
And how can we
I'm
work to fix
sorry.
it?
Are we better? Are we better than Sweden, who's closing prisons right now because of the way that their politics work, and that they just don't have enough people to house them?
That's why
Are we better than that country
No.
with 3.2 million prisoners in this country?
I think we got more than that.
Because we've well,
is that what it was? Was it 3.2?
3.2. That's a tenth of the population.
Oh yeah,
Because of the privatized prison complex. Yeah, no, fuck that shit.
I mean,
there's a lot better countries than the United States right now.
Yeah.
I think
we're just big and we're big bullies.
American
people get hung up.
exceptionalism is a fading and failing
It is.
ideal.
We are not the greatest country
No,
ever.
we're definitely
we
not.
can be a lot better. And striving to be something better is something everyone should do. We always had, when we would go places, we always had something that we always say, we want to leave it better than we found it.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
If you go some, like if we went to another country and we would try to build stuff, improve stuff, like you leave it better than you found it.
That's how
I think that's what a president should do.
Just like W's philosophy on Iraq.
Oh no, you didn't leave it better.
No, he absolutely didn't. And going back to your point, that's exactly how. That
was a joke, guys.
And that's exactly how I treat anything and everything. I mean, if I borrow somebody's truck,
yeah,
I fill the fucking gas tank before I take it back to them. I leave it in better condition than what they gave it to me. They did.
It's what
they
you
ga-
should
they,
do.
They did a favor for me, and I returned something to them in better condition than that which I found it.
See, I don't believe in karma, but to me, that's how karma works. If I borrowed your truck every weekend for something and I didn't put gas back in it, eventually it'd be like, I'm not going to let him borrow that truck anymore. I'm not going to help him out. Why should I help that person if they're not doing anything in return for me?
Yeah.
If we as a country kind of admit, yes, we made mistakes, but guess what? We want to help. We want to improve it. We want to fix this. Other countries might be going, you know what? Remember that time America fucking manned up and said, we made a mistake? Well, they need help now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
let's help them.
But we have 200 countries that are saying, remember when America fucked us? You know, but here's the point. Let me bring this back a little bit. We all agree that's the right way to do it. And I think most of the citizens of the United States agree that that's the way to behave.
We hand me one of those beers.
The problem is, that the people who
thank you, sir.
The people who represent our country have not been behaving that way, and so the rest of the world gets this impression that Americans are douches. And I can't disagree.
Rightfully so, I think, in most circumstances.
Yeah, I can't disagree because of the way that our politicians have been behaving. But the majority of American citizens don't agree with that kind of bullying. We don't like it. We don't want it. You know, we're not a part of that. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be one of the greatest misconceptions in the world today is what the American citizen actually is like. You know, I think most of the world thinks we're just rich, snob, bitch, douche, assholes.
That don't know anything about the rest of the world.
Yeah. Totally ignorant, totally arrogant,
there are
fucktards. And there's
people like that.
Yeah, there are. Well, the problem is,
they're the ones that can afford to go over these countries and give us that fucking image.
Who are the kind of people that are going, oh, yeah, I know. But the most of us, you know, can relate, you know, at least on some level.
Well, I think there's a lot of political talking points where people are like, well, that's a progressive idea. That's a communist idea.
Sure is.
Equal pay? That's bullshit.
Yep.
Minimum wage raised? Why would we want to do that? They earned it. It's like, no, you motherfucker. These big corporations are keeping people fucking held into a fucking crutch because they won't pay them.
Oh, you're saying
into a life of serfdom.
You're saying the Republican ideas are progressive. You were saying that's what they think?
No, well, I was
agreeing when you're saying but
we need to be more progressive. We need to make improvements.
Yeah,
if you think that everything is perfect, you're not going to try to make it better.
Right.
Well, if you already think something's perfect, you're not going to change it.
Okay.
When it's not. If you drive around a car that's obviously broken, but you go, nothing's wrong with it, the fucking shit's going to just stop one day.
Yep. And you brought this up a minute ago. I think it's a good time to bring it back. If you think that capitalism in the way that the Tea Party and the right-wing conservatives want it to work is a good idea.
It's not.
You're part of the problem.
Look at Detroit.
Yeah.
Capitalism is not a bad idea. It works, but there should be caps on capitalism.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I honestly, I like the way
this gets complicated.
It does.
I know what you mean. I think, yeah.
I think it's a matter of. I think it's a matter of getting stuck into one ideology and seeing that through to the end, where no one particular ideology is going to work for everybody. Well, and not everybody seems to recognize that.
And the problem is who's in control and how much is enough, and are they willing to trickle down? Which has never ever worked.
Which is what I was going to say. I think
never been the case that they've done that.
It's
so
completely
that's not going to work. So, the Koch brothers, do you trust them? No. Do you I mean, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they do a shit ton of
philanthropy.
I mean, they've given tens of billions of stuff to
schools and organizations.
Not only the U.S., but to Africa and South America and everything. Both atheists, by the way.
Realizing that we're not an island,
right,
complete unto ourselves,
right. But I might point out, though, at the same time, Bill Gates still has $79 billion to himself. I'm not blaming the guy. He's done more than countries put together have done in foreign aid and even domestic aid. But the point is, who do you trust to put in that position?
It's hard to trust.
Exactly. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it becomes a really tricky situation. Capitalism could work if you have the right people in charge, but the problem is people who aspire to that are rarely the right kind of people.
I think you have to have people who are opposed to authoritarianism. One of the things that I learned as president of Atheists of Utah, and it may be because I've always had a problem with authority.
Yeah, me too.
But you can't control everything, and you shouldn't try to.
Right.
You shouldn't try to appease everybody. You should always work to what is better and what is good for the greater number of people.
Yep.
And I know there are a lot of people who dislike me a lot because I have a differing view from them on a varying number of topics.
Yeah, like Ryan.
I always tried to do what was best for the community as a whole, and I don't see that our Congress is doing that right now.
No, right.
I see that our president is trying to do that.
Yep.
But I don't see that Congress is willing to work with him on doing that.
No, they want to stop him like I said, I mean, they want to stop him at everything, no matter whether it's good or not for the country, because their point is he's not going to win a single inch.
Right.
And that is a hindrance to the betterment of the country.
What we need is...
And that means that it's not Obama's fault.
No.
But it's Congress's fault.
And it's not people who are concerned with doing what they think is best for the country as a whole. It's people who are concerned with maintaining their position of power and money and prestige and their political office. They don't give a fuck about what happens to the rest of the country.
And
they want to maintain their position.
They're already okay. That's why my thing is, I think businesses are not ethical. If I see
Hobby Lobby's not.
Well, but with them, I don't know if it's happened with them as far as this, where you can have a company have massive layoffs because they say they can't pay their employers, yet the top CEOs are taking a $20 million bonus that year and a 40% pay raise.
Well, we already know that. I mean, look at Detroit.
Yeah, that's how they operated. That's how they operated for a long time. It's like, you don't have a problem with making money. You have a problem with how you distribute it. You don't pay your employees. You treat them like shit. Yep. You put yourself on a high fucking pedestal saying, I earned this money. No, your employees earned you.
Well, and I sometimes shudder at the thought of tooting my own horn or anything. But, I think, honestly, had I chosen to run for a position on the board for Atheists of Utah for another 3 years, I would have easily been voted back onto the board.
Yeah,
I would have easily been named president for another 3 years, but I didn't want that.
You're well liked.
I don't want to maintain.
Dan's been a fantastic president.
I don't want to maintain a position of leadership when I know that what I think and what I believe may not necessarily be the best for the community as a whole overall necessarily, and at the same time acknowledging and knowing and understanding that the things that I believe in do may not always work for everybody, and that it's always better to get new and fresh ideas in.
Sure.
You know, I didn't want to run for another term because I wanted to get fresh ideas in.
Change
I
is
wanted
good.
to allow somebody else to be able to run the organization and somebody else to bring fresh ideas and bring more people in and have them lead the way and say, this is what we think would be good, and if it doesn't work out, then fine. Eventually that will be replaced. It's not a static thing where what one person thinks is always going to be best for everybody.
Right. And I think that's part of the appeal that you have, or have had, still have. But I mean,
And I like to think so too. But
yeah,
you know, I'm glad to see that, you know, the group is still growing. We're still attracting more people. There's still people providing input and advice and their ideas to make it a better group. And I didn't ever want it to be a stagnant thing to where one person would always be in charge and be this authoritarian figure. I don't want that. I don't think anybody really wants that necessarily. That's why we put term limits into place for a bunch of different things.
And I think I've said it before, and I think it's still very true. Society's changing. People are becoming more comfortable with coming out and saying, you know what, I'm an atheist, to their families, to their friends.
I'm an atheist, I'm gay, I'm whatever.
Yep. And I think this group, Atheists of Utah, any state that has an atheist organization that's becoming bigger is a awesome help to that. For people to go, you know what, I'm not alone.
And I think
other people out here.
I think the new board that was elected will do a great job.
Yeah, I agree. That was good. You guys ready to get worked up?
Oh,
Sure.
Fuck. We haven't been saying cuss words this lot.
Not a
Times.
lot. Not a lot
No,
tonight.
yeah, today we've
I haven't dropped the F-bomb tons.
Is this where it's going to come out? All right, drop it on us.
I
Is this the one that you didn't want to tell us about earlier? 'Cause-
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm excited
All
now.
This'll definitely get your hair up. St. George, Utah.
Mia Love?
Okay.
No. This story, I'm telling you, this story got buried. Absolutely should not. This should have been.
Was it the selling of the polygamous compound back to the polygamous compound?
No.
Oh,
Worse.
Oh.
worse.
When the St. George, Utah temple asked its parishioners for donations to help fix a leaking roof, some of the followers dug deeper than others.
I think I heard a little bit about this.
Still drawing a blank.
Okay. 21-year-old, unemployed.
Oh, I know this one! Oh, this is great.
This is horrible.
This is funny.
This is horrible.
I think it's funny. I'm sorry.
It's horrible. You're going to look bad in a minute.
No, I won't. Dan will laugh too.
I laugh at everything.
I'm not sure he will.
If I didn't, I'd cry.
I'm not sure he'll laugh at this.
It's
All right. 21-year-old, unemployed college student, Soraya Snow. All right. Already named after Lehi's mother, I believe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Had been attending the temple since birth. She wanted to help out the church that had helped her in so many ways. Quote, when I heard they needed money to repair the roof, I wanted to help, but I had no money. Snow told Fox 13. Quote, so I gave them the most valuable thing that belonged to me.
Hyman.
My virginity.
Oh, I think this one has been debunked. This is
Was it?
This is caca.
Was it
Is it?
snooped?
Yes. I think this is Snopes. I think this is like the Onion.
No, this was on KSL.
I still think
Did
it's been
KSL
debunked.
pick up a snooped?
I think it was a parody or satire kind of
Okay.
thing.
It struck me that way when I first read it.
I thought it was the reason why I thought it was funny. I'm like, this pious 21-year-old
Yeah.
Mormon girl is
Okay.
going to sell her virginity.
Well, in Utah, it's not totally unheard of, but okay, we'll go with that. I'll cut it there because I don't know for sure.
I thought it was semi-comical
I'd rather be informed than
spread. Well,
yeah,
'cause-
yeah. So all right,
Okay.
we'll pass on that. We'll pass on that one.
And if it is true, I don't think it's that bad. It's not. It wouldn't be the first case of a legal adult selling their virginity.
Sure, if it's true, based on the story, it's not so horrific that it's troubling, but it's still a little bothersome that
A girl would do that for the church.
Well, yeah.
Go to that length. Because the one I think I remember was at the Bunny Ranch, where the girl was selling her virginity to help pay for her college tuition.
I don't know what the Bunny Ranch is.
Nevada.
In Nevada, it's a legal
Very famous
brothel.
legal brothel in Nevada, where she was
all right.
she was a.
You can tell how experienced I am. With
She was like an 18 or 19-year-old girl
Naive
selling
yet
her
again on
virginity
this
to pay
show.
for her college.
You know what? I'm fine with being naive about that one.
Just ham it up.
So I'm looking
I've
at
actually never even been to a strip bar.
I'm looking at
What? They're not gonna do
fishlist.com,
that.
and it's hoax. Mormon girl auctions
Okay,
off
all right.
virginity for church repairs.
All right, good.
Yeah, because my other thought was the fucking Mormon church can't pay for that itself. They're fucking rich.
Yeah, well, not only that, but according to the story, they actually took the money, but then discommunicated her.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's some bullshit. But all right, if they didn't do that, fine. We'll move on.
Yeah. Apparently that's a
Okay.
big hoax.
All right, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Moving on.
Moving on.
On moving.
Thank you for clearing that up, Daniel.
You're very welcome.
Danny, it is officially.
We don't want to be known as
Not
a
Daniel.
news organization that portrays bad news. Even though
or reads stuff that's uncredited, as in every week.
But I actually did think I saw that on KSL, which that was that. If I did see that on KSL, that means KSL got duped as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I found it. So they
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
KSL got duped.
And Fox 13, which is the local Fox News.
Oh, they
network
got
here,
duped.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which is the only reason why I printed it.
That's like China fucking putting the Onion News Network up as real news.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get back to politics then, shall we?
Oh, it's heated.
Actually,
Certainly.
this is pretty good, and it's the longest story I've got. 2.5 pages.
All right.
Oh, fuckers.
Undoubtedly, you guys have heard about this. President Obama signed an executive order barring federal contractors from
Yay!
discriminating on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity.
Yay!
Yep.
And
The way it should be.
right, of course. And this comes on the heels of the recent SCOTUS bullshit decision on the Hobby Lobby case.
And I will disagree with all of my libertarian friends and say this is the way that it should be for every corporation or business operating within the United States.
Yeah, they don't have the right to push their own personal views on their employees. So fuck you, libertarians, if that's what you think they should do.
If a corporation is allowed to push their views on that person,
And
that does not
fuck
give that
you,
person
conservatives,
freedom of
if you think
religion.
that's what. No, exactly. So conservatives, libertarians, you're in the same pool, and neither of you guys get to decide.
Yep.
Anyway, which I think is great, and this is actually a fairly fantastic idea or display of what Dan was talking about in his idea earlier, that Obama hasn't been strong enough. I still agree with that, but this is a good example of him saying, you know what, too far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Where he provided no religious exemption in this.
right. Ignoring the pleas of Christians and other faith leaders to include an exemption for religious organizations. To which I say, fuck you.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
No.
You do not get that.
If you don't want to bid on these federal contracts, then don't fucking bid on them.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes on to say, thanks to your passion and advocacy and the irrefutable rightness for your cause, our government, the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, will become just a little bit more fair. The executive order would prevent Christian and other religious organizations with federal contracts from requiring workers to adhere to the tenets of the religious beliefs.
That's a good Obama. You just need to throw in a...
I know. I gotta get the pause in there. Thanks.
You could be on Saturday Night Live.
Thanks to your passion and advocacy, irrefutable rightness for your cause. Anyway, I think this is great. I think this is the best executive order he's. By the way, I mean this circumvents SCOTUS to a certain degree because executive orders don't get. They're not up for judicial review.
And
in case you're a libertarian or a conservative that's listening to this that's pissed about that, Obama has by far
The fewest
by
executive
far the
orders by
fewest.
any president.
Yeah.
I mean, by orders of magnitude.
leaps and bounds.
So if you're trying to impeach him for doing executive orders, you're fucked.
Yeah, kiss our asses. This administration believes. Okay, all right. So this article I got from. Again, I'm failed to remember the source.
You gotta. That's why you
I know,
gotta
I
source
know.
your shit, dude. Dude, This were an English
Dude.
class.
You totally
Dude.
broed me so hard.
If we were in school, dude, and you didn't source
Gotta have
your
your
shit,
sources,
it's an
bro.
instant fucking F.
Dude, bro.
Dude,
No,
bro.
okay.
Dude, bro. Where's the sources, bro?
I talk like that sometimes.
It's either
Okay, what is it?
Conservative News Daily or Christian Right Wing Watch or some crazy shit.
Christian Post.
I know there's
Yeah,
a
some-
website
yeah.
called Right Wing Watch.
It might be that or Christian News Daily. I don't know. Anyway, it's
don't know.
it's one of those. It's one of those that's it's not in our favor. And I
Okay.
thought, okay, well, I'll
Yeah.
grab one. I'll grab one from the other side and see.
Okay.
But this is what they're saying. Anyway, so their opinion is that this administration, meaning Obama, believes gay rights trump everyone else's rights, including religious rights.
It's not gay rights, it's equal
Right.
rights.
Yes, that's what that's the.
They think that they're religious,
I said,
right?
Look, I said no. It's equal rights to others, and it should trump religious rights.
They think they're
Absolutely.
It's
religious.
equal to other people, and as far as religious quote rights go, gays trump that. Yes, absolutely,
equal
every
fucking
time
rights.
because religions don't
Yeah.
have rights under the Constitution as far as this goes.
Absolutely.
Can I make a comment
so, yes,
about
you're right. It does
religious
trump
rights
that.
in the Constitution?
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to hear it.
Unless you're being imprisoned, unless you're being forced to close down your church by the government, unless you're being told you cannot teach your children this in your home, your religious right is not being infringed upon.
Is bullshit.
You
when
have
want.
every right to believe in any religious organization you want to freely
Yep.
in your home. You can preach in any church and attend any church you freely want to.
Yeah.
That is what religious freedom is.
Yeah.
Religious freedom is not, I don't like gays. I don't like atheists. I don't like Muslims. So fuck them, get them out of this country and get them out of my fucking workplace. That is not religious freedom.
Your rights end where someone else's begin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until the government comes into your home and strips your Bible out of your fucking hand and puts you in prison, your religious right has not been infringed on one single
Yeah.
fucking iota.
I almost think religious right as a phrase is a misnomer.
It is.
You know,
In most circumstances,
Yeah.
especially these days.
Well,
Absolutely.
and the way that these guys are talking about it, I mean, it should be, your
religious privilege
personal
versus
right-
religious rights.
personal rights,
Yes.
and politics will be dealt with in the White House.
Yeah, they conflate
And that's it.
they conflate and confuse religious rights with religious privilege.
And there is no religious privilege.
And
Correct.
in a lot of cases, religious persecution.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Let's go on. So yes, gay rights trump everyone else's rights. False. They just want equal, including religious rights. True. Gay rights trump religious rights. Yes, that's true.
if we're speaking about equality, sure.
Well, at this point in the movement, yes.
If we're talking about forcing religious people to become gay, that's a whole different thing.
Okay,
but that's
well,
not what we're fucking talking about.
The comparison we're talking about right now is gays as second-class citizens versus the persecution of other peoples by religious people. Then
Oh, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
LGBT trumps religious rights.
Yep.
Yes, and kiss my fucking ass, you Christian bitches.
Christian motherfucking bitches. I had to get some cuss words in there. I'm sorry.
That one's for you, Mom.
Yeah. Mom, I'm sorry I said that.
We're gonna make up for all the F words here in the last little bit of the. So it appears to be a quote here from some super douche who says, quote, if religious organizations cannot require their employees sorry, let me start that again. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Quote, if religious organizations cannot require that their employees conduct themselves in ways consistent with the teachings of their faith, then
Of
essentially
the corporation's faith, not the individual
Yes.
employees.
the boss's faith. They cannot require the employees conduct themselves in the ways consistent with the teachings of the faith of the corporation. Then essentially, those organizations are unable to operate in accordance with their faith.
In other words, if I can't force my employees to practice the same faith that I have, then my rights are being infringed.
Yes.
Bullshit.
So what
Fuck you in the mouth with a cactus.
Oh, that
Yeah.
might hurt.
A really wide cactus, like you could clean the sides of a tuna can with this thing.
A saguaro.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I wrote, and also, one can only be faithful if they force everyone else to do it too. How awfully Muslim of you.
Yeah.
How unfaithful of you. How
No, it's very, it's actually very Christian.
What is
I
the
can't think of the
Christian
word I wanna
equivalent
use
of
for it.
Sharia law?
No, this is
Yeah.
very Christian.
Yeah.
They through the early 1900s and the 1950s and 60s, they've made Christian into this loving moral thing, and now we're starting to see exactly what they really meant, which was back in the 1700s, which is what it was for 1,000 fucking years before they decided to become a little bit more peaceable.
Yeah.
That's Christianity. It's the exact fucking same thing as Islam.
Yep.
Yeah. So imagine
It
if
has
we had
nothing to do with being loving and peaceful. It has everything to do with think like
Forcing-
me
yeah.
or die, bitch.
Yeah.
So that's
Forcing
exactly
forcing
what it is.
your religious beliefs
Yes.
on others.
And it's always been that way, and it's just like fucking Islam, and they've just been hiding for a half a century.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And the only reason why
the exact
Islam
same
took
thing.
over was an upheaval of their government. Look at Afghanistan in the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah.
You don't see anyone
No.
wearing the common dress. They looked like Westerners. They had
Dude,
colleges.
and-
women went to school. They had movie theaters.
They could
It
drive.
was westernized.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you have a major conflict.
And there was no issues. I mean, they had a problem with Russia for a little bit, but in the 80s.
well, that's when it all went downhill.
Yeah. Right after that, yeah.
And
And guess where they got all their RPGs? From
well,
the US CIA.
and
Yeah.
we put those people in power, and those people
No, I know,
started
no, no.
instituting
Yep.
Muslim
Yeah.
law and Sharia law,
And-
so we fucked ourselves.
Saddam Hussein, and well, we can have a whole nother episode on that, but that'll get all our libertarian fans back.
just research actual history, not what they teach
That's
you in
not
grade
something
school.
that libertarians are prone to do.
Research.
Research anything about history.
Although I do care for some bit of Penn Jillette's opinions. Although he's a fairly staunch libertarian.
well, and I do too. I mean,
but I disagree with him on a great deal too.
yeah, and I get, and I understand
Right.
libertarian
In a perfect
ideals
world.
of personal liberty and being able to do what you want to do. But there are some things that you need to put limits on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In order to have a functioning society where everybody can be a contributing member, you have to have limits on certain things.
Yeah.
And libertarians don't seem to understand that.
Well, and that's why we're liberals.
Yeah, we're liberal
But-
progressives, silly people who think that the government is a good thing to have.
Yes. People. It's sad to say that people should be told, no, you can't do that.
You
That's
have to
bad.
have an outside third party arbitrator who ideally doesn't have a dog in the hunt, right?
Right.
Where they're being impartial on both sides and saying this is what is right. This is what is right. This is what we need to have enable to move forward as a society.
Right.
We can't have people who say, well, I own a business and I'm not going to allow them goddamn niggers in here. That's just bad business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have them darkies in here fucking up my place.
Which
No, you
happened-
can't fucking do that. You can't have a business in the United States and discriminate against a race of people or against people based on the color of their skin. You can't fucking do that.
Right. Right.
Which someone tried to do again.
And many of my libertarian friends would say, no, that's perfectly fine, and the free market would work that shit out.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I like the way.
How did the free market work itself out while the 400 years of slavery in the United States existed?
it kept persisting because no one said this is a bad fucking thing to do.
You know what was good for capitalism? Free fucking labor through
Yeah.
slavery.
Sure. I guess I would view the progressive liberal point of view as being having a team of roosters looking over the hen house, while libertarians would say, we'll have a fox watch the hen house.
Yes, kinda. Well, yes, but the libertarian would argue and say that if you allow the fox to watch the hen house, all of the other hens are going to get together and chase the fox out. But that doesn't fucking work all the time.
Actually, that's more of a conservative view.
In an ideal society, yes, that would always work, but we don't live in this utopian idyllic society.
In our society, that fox becomes big and powerful and fucks over all the hens.
Has a lot more money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too old of a reference. I think you're misunderstanding me. Foxes eat chickens.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I understand what Dan's saying. In a libertarian society, it would say it would work itself out. The libertarians, it'll fix itself. Let it run its course.
Well, and I've heard,
and the hens will rebel.
And I say that because I've heard a lot of my libertarian friends say that when Lincoln went to war and we had the Civil War, that was a bad thing. It was a bad thing to go to war over slavery because eventually slavery would have worked itself out.
No,
the free market would have shut that shit down.
No.
Well, how much longer would we have allowed black people to live in subjugation and in slavery in order to provide your idyllic situation where the free market works that shit out?
Yeah.
It didn't fucking work for 400 years. How much longer should we have waited?
Yeah, 5 more minutes is too long.
Right.
For that kind of shit.
And it went on for another 100 years.
Yeah.
Not slavery, but segregation
and
everything else.
5 more seconds of that kind of treatment is too long.
And we're still living under the cloud of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean...
There are some people around generations of being...
okay, all right. If you're libertarian and you're listening to this and you agree with what Dan just said, let's change the terms a little bit. Because I think, unfortunately, slavery's become a little bit of a callous subject. Let's say that you're a POW in the Hanoi Hilton during Vietnam. And the libertarians and the liberals are going to say, we're going to get you out right fucking now because that's bullshit. And the libertarians are like, it'll work itself out.
They'll make a ladder.
Over time, something will happen. You'll be fine. It'll work itself out. And overall, most people won't be in your situation.
Well, and you don't even have to point back to anything as far back as slavery or anything as gruesome and awful as slavery. I mean, you can look at just equal rights for the LGBT community.
Right.
And say, okay, has the free market sorted that shit out?
Right.
No.
Has the free market done anything to improve that situation, or has it been government involvement that has done that?
There's still a fight for that right now.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not the free market that is standing up and saying, "Oh, we need equal rights for these people." It's people forcing their government to act and put laws in place that will protect these people.
Yes, the liberals.
If people don't stand up for themselves, no one else will. If you don't stand up and call for action, so I'm like the LGBT community has.
I'm going to quote Christopher Hitchens then. You get the rights that you fight for.
Yeah.
And you don't get the rights you don't.
Right.
Yeah. Which is why the LGBT community has been standing up and saying, we will not stand for this anymore. We want
equal rights.
We want equal rights. We want to be treated just like everyone else, not subpar.
And they are everybody else.
Yeah.
They are everybody else. Not that they want the same. They are.
Yeah.
They are. I have some really great friends that are in that community.
Oh, yeah.
And we all do. All three of us have some really great... And I know a lot of our listeners do, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I had a conversation last night with a really sort of Tea Party ultra-Mormon family that I was in a kickball tournament with, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, I had an opportunity to speak out and say, hey, I mean, and they weren't bad-mouthing, but I was just saying, I just had an opportunity to say, some of my gay friends are the sweetest, most awesome friends that I've ever had personal relationships with. And they fucking are.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, not that I don't... I mean, I have straight friends that are sweet and great, too, but I'm just saying...
Well, that's just it.
It's the same. Yeah. They're people. Everyone's people.
Yeah, it's not that they're any better or any worse than anybody else. They're fucking people.
Yes, exactly.
So, a funny note on that. Last night I'm sitting at work and we're watching some TV, and we got talking about going to concerts and seeing some shows. My buddy, he's rather conservative. I'm like, dude, I've always wanted to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show where they do it live and do the whole show with it and just get fun and get into it. He's like, yeah, I want to go to that too. And I'm like, really? It's all like gay people there,
A lot of trans
cross-dressing.
people.
Yeah. Then I find it online. And go, yeah, they do it every Halloween here, and it's the Latter-day transgender group that puts it on. He's like, fine, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go do it. And I'm like, you are the most homophobic person I know, but you want to go do this. You put your opinions aside when it looks like a fun event. When it looks like something fun, you're like, yeah, dude, I'm all for that. I don't care if they're all gay and transgender, but if it's any other time, you're like, fuck the gays, fuck them, fuck them. It's fucking, they don't deserve this. But if it's something fun and entertaining for you to want to go to, you're all cool with it.
Yeah. Then you're just fine. As long as it's something that suits your personal narrative as far as entertainment goes, then that's fine.
But any other time of the day, that's disgusting. They don't deserve any of the same rights. But if you want to see them go put on a show for the Rocky Horror Picture Show and do the song and dance thing, all dressed in drag and shit, and you don't care, but yet you will ridicule the gay pride parade every chance you get.
Yeah. Well, and that always kills me. You know, they say, well, why do we have to have a gay pride parade? Why can't we have a straight pride parade?
You do.
Every fucking day is straight pride day. Yeah. You don't have to fight for your equal rights as a straight person.
That's why I try to point out to a buddy of mine. I'm like, yes.
That's the whole fight.
Yeah.
That's the whole fight.
Yeah.
The pride parade may have started out, and it still is a very majority of a gay movement, of the LGBTQ movement, but now it's also turned into other groups that wanting to fight, saying we want equal rights. We are being we Atheist Utah show up.
The three of us.
Yeah, we're all there,
all straight white males,
and we met a lot of straight people there. All there,
they're in support of the gay
and
community.
Yes.
we're all pro. Yeah, we're all pro LGBTQ, and we're all pro women for equal pay. You know, that's exactly what these movements need. But look how long it's taken.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that kind of gets back to my point earlier, where you know we can talk about the horrible injustice that was slavery that existed for 400 years. How long has the subjugation and unequal treatment of gays gone on? That's gone on since the inception of this fucking country.
Yeah.
Or way before that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
way before.
Just talking about the United States in particular, it's happened since its inception and is still going on.
Well, and that goes back to my even further point about Obama and the way people are going to look back on him, and they're going to say, you know, like right now, it's easy to say, well, he's not doing this well enough, and he's not doing that well enough.
But he'll be the first president.
The fact is, if he kept this country stable for 8 years while he was the first black president ever, everyone would look back and say, holy shit. He did that in the early 2000s.
Not only kept it stable,
he improved it.
I
know.
Our stock market is the highest it's ever been in history.
What I'm saying is, giving him the minimum. If he kept it stable from what W did, if he kept it stable, people would look back and say, a black guy did that in the early 2000s? Wow. Yeah. That's why I say Kennedy, Lincoln, Washington, Obama, they're going to be in the same conversation. But the fact is, he has improved it. And everyone's going to look back at that fake Tanner Boehner and say, that motherfucker didn't let him do shit. And they're going to be able to look back at all the records and say, well, this is all the stuff Obama wanted to do that we're just barely getting done now.
He got the ball rolling.
He would have been the greatest president ever if he could have done what he wanted to.
Yep, absolutely.
That's my point.
Yeah, we had what? We had Clinton balance the budget and gave us a surplus.
Dude,
we had Bush spend the entire surplus.
Clinton killed it. On the economy.
Oh yeah. Then we
killed it.
Bush come in, destroy the surplus,
and W came in and just everything. Fucking destroyed it with his little C+ Yale average.
And then Obama gets it, and he's in office for 4 years, and like, you destroyed the economy. What the fuck, man? Yeah. What the fuck, man? This fucking economy's fucked up because you, Obama. It's like, actually, he's improved it when he
by which numbers are you saying that the economy was destroyed?
What's funny is when you even go back further, they when you talk about 9/11, that happened when Bush was president, but all the Republicans were saying, well, that's because Clinton was so weak on foreign policy for his terms that allowed that to happen when Bush first got here. Now he's got to clean up the mess.
Nope.
Well, no matter who was president, it was going to fucking happen.
9/11 was inside.
I don't. What? You fucking 9/11 conspirator bullshit. That would have happened no matter who the fuck was in office.
Alex Jones is our special guest this evening.
Yeah, we're gonna
Not to give
Fuck that guy.
Al Qaeda or any of those groups any props, but they know what they're doing. I think as
well,
we look at them
they're
as
definitely a lot more in tune than we give them credit for.
oh yeah, a lot of people
for
think
sure.
these are people that live in mud huts in the desert. How the fuck can they do this? Like, no,
Not
these are
those
people
guys.
that are highly trained, have access to a lot of materials, and have a big network set up underground, and they're fucking organized.
And way
They
more
know what the
and
fuck they're doing.
Way more educated than our Bible Belt.
And they have something called patience.
Right.
If they wait
Yeah.
fucking 10 years to fucking do that, they had those guys were training as pilots for 4 or 5 years in the United States before they fucking
Yep.
did this shit.
Yeah, they did it all.
It takes
yeah,
a lot of patience.
Well, like 10 of those 19 guys were engineers.
Oh yeah, and if someone is
From
dedicated,
which country again? Oh, that's right, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi. Yeah. That's right.
A
That's what-
country we didn't invade.
Yeah,
Right. That's.
I'm just saying that
not
a group
huge-
of people that has that much patience and dedication to something, it is going to be almost impossible to catch them. So no matter what, no matter who was in office, no matter who was in office before that
Yeah,
person,
of course.
it was going to happen.
I'm not really advocating for the inside job stuff.
Either
I'm
am I.
It was
But,
a,
yeah.
it was a little shout out for our libertarian fans.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Do you guys? I'm not a big Dennis Miller fan, but
I like
You know,
him.
I used to be. Back in the day, I
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
loved Dennis Miller. When
Yeah.
he would golf on his rants and everything,
yeah,
and then as soon as 9/11 happened, he seemed to lose his fucking mind.
yeah, he's too conservative for me. But there was one, when we were talking about
Awesome
like,
vocabulary.
sure, yeah, no, sharp guy. I mean, but that was one of the things I liked from. I think it was the Raw feed, which he did in 02 maybe 03. But
Back when he had his show, the Dennis Miller Show, I loved that.
Yeah.
I fucking
yeah, it was right around that time. But
I love that
he
show.
He had that stand-up special. I think he did in Chicago, but he was talking about Saudi, and he was like, anybody trust these cats? I think they're the hypotenuse in an asshole triangle with a with Iraq and Iran. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, for some reason they're our friends, but
Yeah.
they're really not. And I got 2 paragraphs into my longest story tonight. We're like, what,
2.5 hours?
in?
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, the timekeeper didn't timekeep.
Yeah.
That's right.
very
No, you know
well.
what? Let's that's okay. We don't have to go through that. I mean, I mean, pretty much all the opinions we would have had on this particular Obama thing we covered earlier anyway. I'm gonna keep working on that voice.
Yeah,
It's
go.
good.
Yeah.
You know what you got to do?
Thanks. Yeah. What's that?
You got to go home. Pour yourself
Thanks.
a bottle of champagne or
Oh, okay.
wine.
Uh,
Light some candles.
get some class.
Go in the bathroom, look in the mirror. Just
Okay.
do that voice and just stare at yourself.
This is weird. All right.
This is going to a whole other place.
I was totally willing to take the advice. I thought,
Don't take the advice.
yeah. Well,
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
yeah. I think I want to say though that next week's going to be totally reformatted. Hopefully.
We'll work on some stuff. Try to get it in there.
I mean,
Yeah.
it won't be fully shifted.
No.
But I think we'll have a little.
We'll have some more
structure.
added content to the show.
Yeah, we'll add some games, some entertainment. I think that'll be fun. Yeah.
And a get to
Yeah.
know Matt segment.
Oh yeah.
Get to know me. Yeah, sure. Fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking hey, right,
Dude, you're such a bro.
dude. Source your shit.
I know that was funny. I need to. That's true. Okay, so we'll have some games, some entertainment, some structure. Get to know.
Cool beans.
This is an ever evolving podcast.
Yeah.
I love having you back, Ryan.
Yeah. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
It's always
You're,
good.
you're welcome.
Seriously, I think this has been a great show.
You and your,
It's
tattoos?
been up and down and heated and not heated, and I think we've had some very good discussions tonight.
Yeah.
I really like this one.
Not overly hot, not overly sweary, but definitely
No.
passionate enough. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it's good.
All right then.
I love you guys.
Well, I guess I'm the broken clock Ryan Duffy tonight.
Oh shit.
I haven't thought of a sign off. I'm Dan, 2 drinks in and 1 beer down. Ellis.
I'm the
Highlighter Matt.
the look in the mirror.
You're
Matt.
the more closely shorn Matt.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
I have a haircut. Yeah, and every time I think I've taken a potty break 3 times tonight,
Was it 3?
3 or 4.
I've held it for the past hour.
Oh, good for you.
I took one.
You know, every time I go in there, I see the mirror and I'm like, God, my forehead is high.
Look at,
Yeah,
as
but
I point to my head.
I know you're. Yeah, I definitely have more hair, but
Yeah.
I still think I just have a taller head. I don't know. It's weird. It looks weird to me. But all right. Till next week. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and have a pleasant week.
Bye.